Hello, hello. How are we all doing, folks? It's been a week. Well, I'm not sure. When did I last do a stream? I was supposed to check this. Did I do one this week, like Monday or Tuesday? I'm not sure. I think, was it last Sunday that I missed? I created the stream and then fell asleep. Hello, Luke. Hello, hello. Okay, folks, we'll just give it a minute while we wait for other people to arrive. I'll grab myself a drink. I'm just on lemonade at the minute. What is this stuff called? Fresh gas. Limon fresh gas. Lemonade is called gaseosa in Spain, so I'm not sure if the gas refers to gaseosa or if it refers just to the fizziness. I don't know. Such is life. But as I said, I'm just on. I got some red wine around here somewhere and some cola, but I've also got a bottle of Tinto de Verano, which is a summery red wine drink for later, for a little bit later. I just noticed on my hands I've got a few cuts and scrapes I didn't realise I had. If you read the title of the stream, you will see that I've had an active week. It's like being a fucking teenager again. Fist fights. A 2-hour running battle, to be honest, but we'll get to that. Then we had the kids throwing stones at the tent. And then we've had the 3 or 4 days of storms. It was kind of two and a half in the end. A lot of what was. It's an amazing signal for where you are. What, stuck in a field? I'm on 5G, I think. Let me just check. Yeah, I've got 5G. Should be coming through loud and clear. Let me see if I missed anybody earlier. It's jumping like crazy already. No, I think Luke was the first comment. Oh, Hannah. Hello, Hannah. I didn't see you there. Hello, hello. No buffering. That's good to hear. Thank you. Is the sound okay? Not a lot I could do, actually, at the minute. And my pan scrub's disappeared. The one that I would put over if there was any kind of wind or anything, but there shouldn't be any of that. Okay, I see that we've got a few people here now. We're about 3 minutes in, so let's... Oscar's lurking. Feel free to come and join properly, Oscar. You're all right, mate. Okay, folks. I am Delta Mike, or at least it's a character I play on the internet. Not my real name. Never claimed it was my real name. The channel is Delta Mike Down and Out in Torrevieja. There's a whole bit of spiel there that I could do about down and out, homeless, tramp, hobo, vagrant, indigent person of no fixed abode. Some might say a bum. Someone who lives rough, someone who lives on the street, or in my case, in a field. I wasn't going to do that, but I just did it. Somehow I was able to remember it all this time, or more or less all. I probably missed 1 or 2 elements. So Delta Mike, Down and Out in Torrevieja. Torrevieja, a city on the southeast coast of Spain, Costa Blanca South, that frankly was ravaged this week by, well, not just torrential storms, what they call gota frias in Spain, or in the last few years they've been trying to rebrand them as Dana. I can't remember what the Dana stands for, but I can translate gota fria. Gota fria means cold drop. Just when the temperature drops massively and you've got warm air and cold air at the same time, you get the thunder, the lightning, the torrential rain. Torrential rain doesn't really cover it. If you see any videos from Torrevieja this week, you will have seen rivers in the street, cars stalling because their engine's underwater, bins, the large communal bins, what do the Americans call them? Can't remember. But those are floating off down the road, being a hazard to traffic. Fire brigade and police out catching the bins and moving them off. There's Roger. Oh, Sign of Nature. Hello, hello. Mike is more real than your corporate name. Yeah, but Mike's not my... okay, okay, yeah, I got you. Corporate name. My favourite conspiracy theorist. Lens needs a wipe, or is it the backlight making it look foggy? Yeah, I don't think it's the lens. I think it's my lighting. I don't know, not so much that. I could try giving it a wipe. What have I got? Where is the lens? It's in the middle on this side somewhere, isn't it? Up there somewhere. Hold on, folks. I do have a glasses. I'll try not to end the stream while I'm doing it. Did you notice a difference? Maybe a little bit. Possible this time of year that we're getting a bit of condensation. But yeah, I do have these lights up here as well, giving me my Christmassy feel. Although they're all year round at the minute. Where was I? Torrevieja storms. Yeah, it's been... So, what are the 3 things that I put in the title? Fisticuffs. 2-hour running battle. The guy had to go to hospital, unfortunately. Fisticuffs. Kids throwing stones. And then the storms. So yeah, the southeast coast of Spain, Torrevieja, Costa Blanca south, was hit hard by the... I've got cuts on my hand I didn't know I had. I think that would be... Was that Wednesday night? Or I think that was Wednesday night. We'll get to it, folks. We'll get to it. I've got a few things going on, kind of injury-wise. Not least of which is I'm too old to be scrapping in the road at 4 in the fucking morning with arseholes. And then having them follow me home. I haven't released that video yet. The upcoming storm, I did a video at the beginning, well, before the storm, and then the day of, and a little bit during. So that's interwoven with the running battle I had for 2 hours on Wednesday night. Thursday was the stone throwing with the kids, and Friday was the storm arriving or beginning. Saturday was the main. God, the amount of rain that fell on Saturday. I haven't had it quantified. I saw the predictions in the weather forecasts. So when a weather forecast starts telling you 25 millimeters in the next hour, and you're in a field where all the rain from this end of town runs along the top through a drainage ditch that you know is clogged and blocked, partially. We'll get there. We'll get there. How? Let me make sure I'm not missing anything you guys are saying. There was Roger arriving. Next lens over. There's only one lens on the front. I'll give it another go if you think. I don't think there's a setting cold soft lens in here. I think this is just me. Retouch, create, highlight, lighting. I don't know what these buttons do, folks. I've never... Let's click it and see. That says relight on. Is that better or worse? I got no clue what these things are. For a guy that's a former techie, made a living in tech, I don't experiment live, and I got to be on a live stream for these buttons to even be here. You don't, unlike what I always liked about Windows was you'd hover over things and you'd get a tooltip, and you can go off and click like F1 or something and go and get help about any feature. You don't get that with touch screens. So I don't know. No idea, folks. No idea. Let me bring this back up. Soft mood lens, I've no idea, mate. I think it's the overhead lights. I think it could be. Do you want me to let me experiment? I kind of prefer this because then I can see Tina. Oh, that's worse, isn't it? That looks worse to me. I could. Maybe this is too bright. How's that? I got that holly thing going on again though, where it's just the face in the middle of a black screen almost. Oh, I tell you what, it's hard to judge because I've got my brightness turned right down. If I turn my brightness up to something more normal, I get more of a... Well, that's quite stark. That's quite vivid and bright and flaring out a bit every time I move. My light's on its lowest setting. I'm going to have a look again at this retouch shit and... No, it wasn't, was it? It was lighting. Well, I don't know what retouch is. Retouch off. Lighting. Relight off. Did anyone see a difference? I've got no clue. And I'm clicking things I don't want to click. Yeah, the same headlights in your tent in Benidorm. Soft mood lens says Jack Attack. I think it's the overlight. This overlight is not good. Better. Holy Heady is good. Don't tell people in Liverpool that one. That's better. Everyone, the consensus seems to be camping setting much better. I don't know about a camping setting. I got no clue. It's very dark in here now. See, I can't introduce you to my Tina doggy darling, can I? Well, I can, but I'll have to do the. Oh, come on! Cameras turn. There they go. Now lighting. Here she is. Hey, Tina. Tina, come talk to the peoples. No, look at her pulling away. Hey, babe. I know you don't like it. Come on, say hello to our friends, the peoples. Come on. Here you go, sweets. I'm not going to force you. Ouch. That would be doggy cuddle rape. Here we go, back over here. I got to twist it at a bit of a funny angle at the minute. Let me... Oh. Is it raining now? No, but we're about to get some more thunderstorms in the morning, allegedly. We've actually had a very sunny day today. It's been a nice... I mean, I didn't go out in it because the field's still wet through and everything. My floor in the tent, you know, I've got a carpet in the living room under my queen armchair. But it's squelch when you walk through it. I didn't have any leaks from above. I did have a leak, you know, next to the door that Tina's broken. There's a slit down about 2 foot long. Give me 2 foot, 60 centimeters, 50, 60 centimeters for Europeans. That I'd sealed that up with duct tape, but there was so much movement on the wall of the tent that all gave in the end, and we did take quite a lot of water in through there. But I think the most of it was water, like rivers running under the tent, and where your tent settles on a stone, you're gonna get little holes, and when you've got water under a plastic sheet with holes in, you're gonna get water come through, aren't you? So we had that. The storm was. I'm convinced we were 15 minutes away from the field flooding. How many spare tents are you left with? I've got so I've got 2 small ones. I've got a 2-man and a 3-man in a bin here to try and keep waterproof in case anything did happen. My go bag is actually a bin. I just, you know, a proper dustbin with handles that come up and unlock the lid on. I got 2 here, so a 2-man and a 3-man, and I've already got my next full tent, my replacement for this, if that becomes necessary. I haven't got that in my possession, but Karen's got that. So I'm all right for that. But my main problem with this at the minute is that this drainage ditch at the top of the road just isn't being maintained. So I went out immediately. Well, not when it had stopped, but when we had a quiet So it had been raining torrential, and then it was just raining, and I put a waterproof jacket on, and I went out and I went up to the top of the road and had a look. And I could see the water coming off the road into the ditch. I could see water coming down the hill into the ditch. And then I could see a trickle coming out of the ditch. And the ditch was just getting fuller and fuller. Basically, it's blocked at the end where it comes out. And it's supposed to ford across the road. There's a concrete base they've put in with a slight incline from both sides and then a flat base. It's supposed to channel the water across this track. Well, only a third of it was going across. 1/3 was spilling out into the field, roughly a third into the field. Roughly 1/3 going down this track on either the left or the right, and only about a third approximately. You know, I'm gauging this on the fly, but only about a third of it was making it across the road and into the drainage channel. The guy who came with a strimmer and cut the bamboo or reeds or whatever they were down, just dumped the reeds in the channel, in the ditch, well, at the entrance or the exit of the ditch. So he made things worse than they were before he came. When he arrived, we had these upright reeds and water could go around. When he left, there was a pile of reeds blocking the exit from the fucking channel. Not mountains, but we got a few hills around us, and it's just a drainage ditch. There's no pipes. They don't. I mean, Spain's got a terrible reputation for not building drainage into their roads. I was reading the other day for the historical reasons why that might be the case, or why that is the case. It's quite an interesting read, but it doesn't help me any. When you're on the coast like this, they focus on just channeling it in an occasional storm drain, or just, if you see the videos of their roads just flooded, and when you then hear, it's not that the drainage system's been overpowered, it's that there isn't a fucking drainage system. And Torrevieja is basically built around a bunch of hills. Well, it's got a bunch of hills surrounding it. So any water that falls in that whole area is going to go downhill and off towards the town centre, and they channel it to the beach in certain places. And all of Torrevieja's beaches are artificial, so they just get washed away by this. And then they'll bring in the diggers, the backhoes, the bulldozers, whatever, to try and dredge the sand back up and onto the beach, which is basically rocks. Cover the rocks with sand, make it look like a beach. And then they'll go off cap in hand to the government and ask for €5 million, because we're a tourist town and we need to maintain our beaches. Then put some fucking drainage in your roads, you daft cunts. Sorry, dropping the C-bomb already, folks. We're only 18 minutes in and I'm off swearing already. Oh, that lemon is quite sharp. Free water, yeah, but it's all in my tent. Nowhere I want it. This field with that drainage ditch was, I can't gauge, but my guesstimation when I looked at it was, if the rain had carried on torrential for another 15 minutes, maybe 30 minutes, the field would have been knee deep in water. It would have all just flooded. Which is what I think happened. Was that last week or the week before? You see, I lose track of time. When everything here moved, when Tina's doggy chariot, her doggy wheelchair, moved 3 meters, 4 meters that way. When those logs, I mean, those fucking logs, those were heavy. I struggled to pick those up. Two at a time, one at a time, no problem. But two at a time, they're a heft. But they'd floated off and they'd moved 8 or 10 meters. Other stuff, one of my pans had gone. Now, I got another story on that, because the fisticuffs that I'm about to tell you about later on, at one point this guy threw pans at me. I had these pans that were full of sludge, full of mud from the flood, and I'd taken the rough out, as you do. Then I'd put some water and some washing up liquid in and put them on the table, and I was leaving them to kind of soak. Every now and again I'd take the pan scrub through them and give them a, you know, agitation and a bit of a scrub, try and loosen more and more. And I thought I'll leave them overnight and I'll get them in the morning. And something happened, and this guy, he ended up running through the camp, and he threw 2 of my pans at me. One hit me on the chest here, and one I flinched and turned away, and it caught me on the back of the head. So as well as the pan that I think must have washed away during the storm the other week, maybe, or somebody's playing funny buggers with me, but as well as that one that went in the storm last week, the 2 that he threw at me, I cannot find. It's like, look, someone throws a pan at you and it hits you, it's going to drop pretty much to the floor right there, yeah? No. Cannot find it for fucking love nor money. I've lost half my pans in the last week and a half, whatever it's been. That's an issue. I can't even remember. I've got one frying pan out there. I had a second, so I was using one frying pan as a cover over the other, as like a lid, turning upside down. The lid one is still there, but the main one that was full of grease and mud and stuff, and that was wanting to have a good clean out, that one he threw at me, and that's gone. I can't even work out what the other pans were. The one that went in the flood the other week was a red one with a brown line around the top and a brown lid. I've still got the brown lid. I haven't got the fucking pan. But the third pan I can't visualize. I can't recall. I don't know what it was. I just know that he threw 2 pans at me. The nation's mood has changed. Everyone had enough. See you as a target, maybe. There is an anti-tourist movement in Spain. It's slight. It's not as big as the media makes out. The media is spinning it. There's an anti-immigration, but it's not against white Europeans, shall we say. There is an anti-tourism thing. I'll tell you more about this fight with this guy in a moment, in a short while. I don't want to like divulge it all in the first half an hour and have nothing more to talk about, folks. Come on, I gotta spin this shit out. It's hard work trying to entertain you guys for 2, 3, sometimes 4 or 5 hours or more. Oh, why did I not notice how sharp that was before? I'm halfway through the bottle. Roughly. I'm about halfway through. But it's a big glass I'm drinking out of. I did pour it tall. Don't panic. So yeah, there is an anti-immigration movement, but it's not aimed at the white Europeans in general. Anti-tourism movement in places that are over, when the locals can't get a flat, when they can't get an apartment, because everything's a holiday home. There's been a big push to remove holiday homes from Airbnb. If you do an Airbnb advert and you're not registered with the government, you're dodging taxes and things, and so they're going after people for that. So those are big anti-tourism movements. But the Balearic Islands are the main focus with us. Also Barcelona. Again, local people not being able to bring up kids and have them grow up and get housing. Even holiday staff can't get housed properly. So yeah, but I did obviously come to the attention of local kids I think it's the same bunch as like 4 months ago or whenever that was. I think there's one ringleader. There's one kid seems to be in every group. I don't think that the other people are always consistently there. I think it's one main guy, one main lad, who seems to stand at the back and egg them on. A taller blonde lad, with his e-scooter thing, and he stands further back. So when I start chasing them, he's got a head start. I'm all of the above, sign of nature, yeah. Tramp immigrant. I'm an illegal immigrant to some extent, aren't I? Technically, when Brexit happened, I was granted a 3-month visa, and I overstayed. Would be the legal position. Yeah. I don't understand why they haven't deported me. I really don't. Now, that's not really the way I want to leave the country. But with all the legal things over my head and stuff, it's... Yeah. They're on scooters, mate. They're on these electric scooters that nip off at 30 kilometres an hour. How am I just going to follow them? Jack Attack says, read my legal papers. I know, mate. I know. That's not going to solve the problems, but it would give me a bit more awareness of... it would give me a bit more awareness of what the current situation kind of is. Okay, here's the thing. I made well, in England it would have been a 999 call. America it would have been 911. Here in Europe it's 112. I made 2 calls to 112 the other night while the guy was here trying to assault me. The guy that had followed me back from the petrol station at 4 in the morning. I haven't told you the full story. I'm jumping ahead a bit, but we'll go back. But I was nervous about making that call, even though I was being attacked, because of my legal situation. But they didn't come out. They just did not respond to a 112 call. What am I meant to do with that? And then the day after, I had kids throwing stones at me and my tent. Me and my dog and my tent. What do you do if the police aren't going to respond to an emergency call? What do I do about that? Luke was in Valencia deport station for 2 months. That sounds like hell, mate. Did I just see that? It's like a prison, but you can keep your phone. Yeah. Can you keep your dog? And your EcoFlow. Solar panel. All your other possessions. You did commit a small crime. Well, they've copped me for what they consider a crime. The crime of not having any paperwork. The crime of not being able to identify. To a member of the council. No expulsion order. In fact, the opposite. I've got the police keeping me here. You know, I got arrested at the airport that time. I shouldn't laugh, but it's the craziest fucking situation. It literally all started with someone sitting next to me in a bar, table, waiting until the place filled up, and then telling me that I have to move because they don't like dogs. It's a long, crazy story. I think I've told it once or twice. Probably, I'm not sure if it's in TrampCast 001, but for anybody who's new or anybody who doesn't know the whole story of any of this, TrampCast space 001. I did try and make a condensed version. It is 2.5 hours long. I tried to make a condensed version, but Jack Attack ruined it. He made it even longer when I was trying to do a compressed version. I guess I shouldn't have done it as a live stream. I should have pre-recorded. That way I could have known what I was going to say. But I would have had to script that. I'm much more of an off-the-cuff kind of guy. I don't really... Well, I guess the TrampCast proper, which is about 10 weeks out of date now, TrampCast proper is scripted to a degree, I guess. Yeah, blame me, says Jack. Yeah. You know. You were there. What's your bank done to you? Millions abroad are facing same problems, locked out of their money. It's a growing thing, isn't it? They even have a word for it now called being debanked. I think it's called debanked. Yeah. Yeah. It's a ridiculous thing. Not being able to, when you've got thousands in the bank and you can't get to it. It's not a lot of thousands. I don't want anyone getting wrong ideas. It's not like I'm a multi-millionaire, not like I'm a multi-millionaire sat here begging for your money with my PayPal link at the top of the chat. It's enough maybe for, I thought it was enough maybe to survive for 6 months when I got back, but with all the rises in the cost of living, it's probably enough for me to get by for 3 months. So when I do get back, I'll have to be pretty quick at getting up and running with whatever I'm going to do with life after that. That's going to be tricky. That's going to be tricky. But I don't see a path to even getting that far. But that's another story, folks. How have your weeks gone? Now let's talk about you guys for a minute before I move on and give details of these stories that I've alluded to. What kind of week have you had? Like I think most of you are in the UK, yeah? Is there anyone not in the UK? I think everyone I've seen is UK based. Oh, Roger's in Spain. DJ Son, or Sun, I'm not sure how he's pronouncing that. Is it raining now? No, just crackling with the wind. Roger wants the overhead light back on. Hold on. I think the consensus was it was better with it off, wasn't it? I don't know. Nobody's talking to me about their week. You're forcing me to talk about me and mine. Where to begin then? Am I right in saying it was last Sunday that I said I was going to go live at 10:30 and then I fell asleep at about 9 o'clock? Was that Sunday? Might have been the Friday before the Sunday, I'm not sure. Fairly recently. I know some people were worried and I didn't know what to do about that. I just fell asleep, folks, you know. You create the stream a couple of hours in advance hoping that people will see the alerts and stuff. And then I'd not slept through we'd had a bad week with storms, I think, that week. And I had a sleep deficit. And I created the stream in YouTube, and then I settled down and cuddled the dog and... Oh, it wasn't just cuddling the dog, was it? No, this was Ryan's fault. Vitruvium from chat, I haven't seen him today, but Vitruvium popped down, Ryan, and he had his kids and his mum, not theirs, had his mum with him and gave me a bottle of Baileys. Yeah, Karen was phoning, but I didn't hear any of it. I knew nothing about any of it. You're talking to a guy who slept while the field flooded a few days earlier than that. Again, sleep deficit, finally got off to sleep in the middle of a storm. The field flooded and I knew nothing about it until I got up and everything outside had moved 3, 4, 10 meters. A pan washed away, for fuck's sake. Yeah, Yeah, so when I'm a sleep deficit, when I'm so far behind, when I haven't slept all week or something, suddenly I can fall asleep and sleep through anything. So yeah, even Karen phoning with the Bailey's. Oh, it's evil, isn't it? I mean, it's so nice, and it goes down just like a creamy drink. You don't even feel the alcohol, and it does catch you in the end. I think I had roughly half a bottle that day. And on top, I think we sat out and had a beer as well while they were here. And I had probably had another couple in the afternoon because I've had a few lately. I've had a lot of beer donated. Uh, Thank you, Karen, and thank you, Josie. Josie's been a few times. Josie from chat. I hope you all recognise the name. Josie, the Dutch lady. So yeah, they've in fact the Tinto Verano that I'm about to open. Well, that I'm going to open later in the stream, is from Josie. And a couple of days ago, I've only just finished it, haven't I? I had a glass earlier. What was that one? Sangria. She brought. So yeah, beers and sangrias and Tinto Veranos. Karen brought me boxed red wine, Card Bordeaux, as we say, and I think there was beer as well. I've had beer from somebody. Sorry, folks. I've had so much from people. I couldn't fit it all in the tent, folks. I've got it stacked up outside. In those foil. Freezer bag wouldn't be the right word, but when you go shopping at the supermarket and you get one of those padded foil insulated bags, I got a couple of those outside. A cool box, just a plastic, polystyrene insulated cool box, not my electric one, not using that. But I got a cool box, and Josie brought a box with a load of stuff as well. She brought me a new box. Can't fit it all inside the tent. My floor here is there's like 4 or 5 bags of food over here, 2 or 3 outside, a cool box and a box. I've got to work my way through. I don't even know what I've got. Like 4 days later, I'm going through it thinking, oh shit, I should have eaten that before now. There's too much. How's the second cool box? I've got more than 2. I've only got the one electrical one. The others are just cool box. The kind of things you take on a picnic. The padded plastic. They're all okay, but have I got 3 or 4? I've got 2 that are actual boxes and 1 that's a bag. But same principle. Every now and again, once a week or so, Karen will bring me 4, 5, 6 litres of ice, 6 litres of frozen water. So not ice bought in the supermarket, but a 6 litre bottle frozen, and maybe a couple of 1.5 litre bottles or something. So I'll pack out the other boxes and try and preserve all the food as long as possible. The stuff that's outside, I move around trying to keep out of the sun, keep it in the shadow of the solar panel. Oh, that was another thing. During the storm the other night, I guess I should try and keep things coherent and tell one tale at a time, but my brain jumps around, as you know, with my tangents from tangents. I'm managing power the other night. Fuck, what a nightmare. So the EcoFlow's got a setting where when you get down to it, it stops outputting power, except for USB-A. Normal USB-A carries on. USB-C stops. The 12-volt socket, the car cigarette lighter socket stops, and the AC, the inverter stops when you get down to whatever limit you set. I always have that set to 30 in case I fall asleep with a fan on. I don't want to wake up with no power. So it would stop at 30. But the device is meant to carry on, be alive, be awake, so that you can go in and you know, if you've got it set to 30, maybe you move it down to 20 and make 10% of the power available again. This is the idea. That's not what happened this time. In advance, I moved it down to 25, so that I had more power. We'd already had one night, and then we went a whole day with no power, and we had to get through that second night. And even then, the day after wasn't due to be sunny, according to the weather forecast. So it gets down to 25 at about 4 in the morning. Turns off. Like fucking off. Won't come back on, kind of off. Hold the fucking on button for 30, nothing. No, just off. So it's 25% powered, but it's not available to me. It looks like they've forced through a firmware update that I didn't give permission for, or that I didn't authorize. Something's changed with the way this thing works. I don't like that. How very dare you? Especially if you're going to do a firmware update while I'm in the middle of a fucking storm with my connection might be unstable. Firmware updates in the middle of unstable conditions are dodgy. You could end up with a brick. So I didn't like that. I only had to go from 4 while about 8 or 9 in the morning. As soon as I plugged the EcoFlow into the solar panel, or plug the solar panel into the EcoFlow, whichever way around you want to look at it, it instantly powered up again. Fortunately, when it turned off, all of my devices were fully charged. Or when my phone will be on 80, I don't go to 100, because nowadays my phone just stays connected to the power all the time. And if you're constantly charging a battery, you fuck it. So I've set an 80-20 limit on that. It gets to 80, stops charging, and doesn't start charging again until it gets down to 20. That's just because I'm just using my phone as basically as a Wi-Fi router, because this has got a much bigger screen, and once fully charged, this will last about 16 hours of continuous use. Yeah. Have you guys stopped talking to me? Oh, I'm not even on live chat. I've probably missed loads of messages. Sign of nature. I'm not getting any alerts or notifications from you. That's interesting. I mean, I haven't done much. I haven't put many videos out. I did do I did the one about the stone throwing the other night, and just this live stream. Have I done anything else? I've got one waiting to go out. 2. Oh, I had my 3rd anniversary, didn't I? 3rd anniversary in this field. The day of the fucking storm, wasn't it? Was it? Or was it the day after the fight? No, it was the day of the fight. That was the beginning of my day. Was it? Was that my anniversary? The 2-hour-long stand-up fist fight with this fucking idiot, plus the kids throwing stones later that night. Later that day. I lose track, folks. I've got notes somewhere. When we come to do TrampCast proper, if TrampCast proper ever does fucking take off again, it will. I will bring it back. Probably. I will have the notes, and I will have this all in the proper order in my head. But okay, let's get to the meat and potatoes of this. So I had my anniversary was upcoming, and I was gonna, if you remember, for my 3 years homeless, which was August the 14th, I was going to re-release my original video, the channel's first ever video, with some additional commentary around it. And I've never released it. And I was going to kind of re-edit it so it didn't say 3 years homeless, so it said 3 years in this field. That's what I was going to do. Didn't get it done, but that's waiting to come out. And I've got a video, like I said, about the storm, waiting for the storm. And while we were waiting for it is when this thing happened. 4 o'clock in the morning, and I hear bang, bang, bang up at the top of the road. Somebody doing some kind of vandalism, or maybe trying to break into something. So I take Tina for a walk, and we just walk up that way, see what I can see. I get to the top of the road, which normally would be about as far as I would kind of carry Tina, and I see a guy in the courtyard in the petrol station grounds, and he's got some kind of cylinder, some big cylindrical thing on his shoulder. I'm assuming a gas cylinder that's been left out, and he's hammering the building with it, or doing something with it, and there's a loud bang. At 4 in the morning, he doesn't expect to be seen or confronted. So I give a loud cough just to make my presence felt. And he disappears off around the back of the petrol station. So I walk Tina around the back of the petrol station. And he stood there on his phone. Excuse me. He's standing talking on his phone to somebody in I'm going to say a Slavic language. Polish, Russian, Ukrainian, Eastern European. I don't know the specifics. Could be fucking Hungarian for all I know. Anyway, it's obvious to me that he's been trying to break into the garage. So I kind of tell him, fuck off, son, you know, get gone. And then he asks, have you seen Nikita and Dima? And I'm like, no, you're here on your own, but you're a thief trying to break into the petrol station. I think you should go. He said, you're going to be on camera. There's going to be, you know, there's going to be cameras. And he attacked me. He kept aggressively approaching me, and I'm carrying a fucking dog. I'm carrying her back end. So I had to put her down and take care of him. And so we had a quick scuffle. He ends up on the floor, and I end up kind of kneeling on him, and I could have done whatever I wanted with him at that point. I mean, I could have just ripped his face off. I mean, he was just there. I get him to kind of signal that it's over, you know, to kind of concede, and I let him up. And about 10 seconds later, he attacks me again, so I drop him. And I start to walk off. He starts to walk off as well. He starts to head off one way on the main road, and I'm going over and down this track. And then I get halfway down the road, and he doubles back and follows me back. And I kid you not, for the next 2 hours, he'd come down the track, we'd have a fight, he'd lose the fight, and then he'd fuck off back up the track, lay down in the middle of the main road, get up, 5, 10, 15 minutes, come back down, and we'd go again, and again, and again. And we got to the point where he came at me throwing rocks, and I don't mean stones, I mean rocks. He picked up this fucking, and he, I got to be careful what I say, because whilst I think it's all self-defense, I won every round of the fight. It was almost easy, and he ended up, well, I won't jump ahead. So he comes down, we have a scuffle, and he goes off the other way, down to the end of this road, as if he lived here. But he doesn't, and so he comes back, and again, and again. And he comes back, and he's got like his tracksuit top or whatever, filled up, curled up. And he says, I'm not going to fight, no more fight, no, I don't mean you harm. And he gets alongside, and then he hurls and his tracksuit opens out and it's full of stones. He's just thrown like a fucking shed load of stones and rocks at me, and some of them hit the tent and put rips in. Well, they hit the tarp and put rips in the tarp. So we go at it again, and this time he runs through the path at the bottom of the field and up and through my camp, and this is where he grabs the pans and throws the pans at me. I get fucking angry at this, obviously. I chase him, shouting, shouting. I'm not going to say what, because that might be used against me. And I catch him because, I don't know why, but I'm fitter than him for some reason. I catch him, and I pummel him, and he goes to the ground, and he falls on something. And he hurts. I thought he'd hurt one hand, but I'm jumping ahead again. He hurt a hand pretty badly. I don't know if he's fallen on glass, on metal, or just, I don't know what, but it's bleeding quite heavily. But it doesn't stop him. He fucks off again, and he comes back down the road again, and he wants another go, and another go, and there's blood coming off it. I've got his blood all over my trousers. There's blood coming off him everywhere. And I keep belting him and putting him on the deck, and he goes off, but then he comes back. Totally mental. So I wasn't getting in the tent in these breaks. I had to sit in the chairs in the field and wait 5 or 10 minutes to check he didn't come back again. And as soon as I heard him scuffing his feet down the road, I'm back out again. On and on and on. And he's covered in blood. And eventually I've had enough. I call the police, thinking that they'd come fairly quickly because it's the equivalent of a 999 call. It's a 112. It's an emergency number call. While I'm on the phone talking with him, he comes back down, and I'm telling the lady he's here again now, and she can hear him. And she says, yeah, I've told them they're on the way. 24 hours later, nothing. 36 hours later, cop car pulls up outside the tent. A white car pulls up outside the tent, just beyond the tent. I can see the white. It's all I can see. Tina's unsettled by it. We go out, and they just reverse away. And that's when I see it's a police car, and they just fuck off. 36-hour response to a 112 call, an emergency call. 36-hour response, and they didn't stick around or do anything. So it might not even have been that. It might have been just because there was a storm coming in and I'm in a field that floods. No idea. It's a weird thing to do, to pull down here, park there, and then fuck off and not even talk to me. I mean, normally I'd be glad of that. But, no, so this was the thing. This was the... Oh, and this guy, the next morning was supposed to be the first day of the storms, and it got put off until night. This guy comes back all bandaged up, both hands bandaged. Apparently he'd cut both hands. I didn't realise. I knew he'd cut one badly, the other might have been less, but he comes back and he asks for my help to find his fucking phone and his wallet. And he starts off, whoa, I'm not going to fight. I don't mean you any harm. And I'm like, you said that 20 times last night, and every single fucking time you launched into one. And he wanted me to apologise for hurting him. I'm like, no. Fucking self-defence, you daft twat. Every single time you approached me aggressively. So I pushed you or punched you. And even when he was on the floor, he was trying to kick me. But the 2 pans he threw at me, I cannot find. It's the damnedest thing. That I've now lost 3 pans in 2 weeks. 1 frying pan, 1 like a crock pot shaped thing, and the other one I don't even know. I just know that he threw 2 pans at me, and I can't quite tell what it was. I don't recollect the other pan. But a crazy night from 4 in the morning until way after 6. 6 o'clock I phoned the police and he was still here gobbing off, and he walked off. His hands were so hurt, he walked off like shrieking in pain, like worried he was going to bleed. I mean, it wasn't. It was a bad cut, whatever it was. He had blood on him, but he'd spent an hour running around, coming back and fighting with this cut. He wasn't going to bleed out. I mean, you just get that panic in your mind when you get a substantial cut and you see a lot of blood. But it wasn't a lot in those ways. But hold on. It's jumping around on me. Oh, I'm right way back. Did you try Ryan? Yeah, I did try Ryan's fridge with my Eco. Now Ryan's fridge is like my cool box, but with a proper compressor. But 2 zones. You can set the temperature in each zone. So it is a proper like fridge freezer version of the cool box. But I'm thinking more upright. Yeah. Here's the small part would default to be in the fridge. The large part would be the freezer. So the bulk of it would be deep freeze. Although you can use that, you can have it all as fridge, but the small compartment can only be fridge. The large part can be fridge or freezer depending on your temperature settings. So my thing powered it fine. I just don't think. Now later in the day, I think it was Karen sent me a fridge with, you know, with the ice box in the top. I think it was with an ice box. It might have been an actual freezer compartment. I'm not sure. Don't remember now. I'd have to look back at the links. But she sent me one of those, a picture of one of those, from the same brand. But I think it was like €300, and I think that's more than I'm wanting to go. 150, 200, maybe a little over 200 at a push. It has to be these were camping fridges that I was looking at, so they'll have roughly the same kind of load. It's that initial load, but they can work off the cigarette lighter, the 12 volt, work off 12 volts or 24 volts or 220. So yeah, I'm seriously looking at them, but I don't know. It's a lot of money to commit, and we're in winter when I've got less of a need for them. I'm also aware it's like a commitment that I'm gonna be here come next summer, kind of thing. And that's, I mean, I don't see how I won't be, but I don't want to be. So starting to commit money in that direction, I don't know. Maybe I'm just being a pussy. Yeah, it worked fine. Yeah. Now Karen was pushing me to get a bigger EcoFlow, and she has access to a fridge freezer for free. I think someone's thrown it away or is giving it away or something. But they plugged it into their EcoFlow, and I think it was either an 1100 or a 1400 initial surge. After that, it settled down to 50 or 60 watts. But it was, I think it was either 1140 or 1410, just for a couple of seconds. But that was way too much for my EcoFlow. But she was trying to get me to see whether I could upgrade the EcoFlow and then take the free refrigerator and ice box that they have access to. But it doesn't look feasible. Even if I could trade my River 2 in, they're only offering €60 kind of trading on it. So that wouldn't get me a bigger and better. The money that I've got in PayPal plus the cash-in value would and the state of mind, because I live in a field, isn't going to be. I'll get blocked and banned shortly. Read the papers before committing. You will get banned, mate. You will get banned. I fell asleep during Scruff Dog again last night, wasn't it? Yeah. I don't know. I'll be getting banned from Scruff Dogs for that. Cheers, mate. Oh, yeah, I should do that. Cheers to you guys for being here. In particular, for anybody that remembered to hit the thumbs up. You also, guys, in the chat options, you want to set, let me get the wording, live chat, all messages are visible, rather than the default, which is top chat. Top chat will skip some messages, which is why I've missed a few from people when I look back now. Apologies to anybody I've missed. I was on the wrong setting. I'm really bad at this shit. Okay, let me move back to the bottom. So yeah, cheers to anybody that did hit the thumbs up. It's always appreciated. Like I said, somewhere around the 20 thumbs up mark, I'm told, I don't know how true this is, but I'm told it's an extra boost, and YouTube will send out more alerts to people, more notifications, or more. They will list it in the live section a little more. Itchy nose, itchy nose. So yeah, where am I? I was telling you about the guy in the fighting, and he came back the next day. I think that I'm hoping that's the end of it. There's a chance that once he's healed, he'll come back for more. Not looking forward to that. But literally, guys, every round, I won every round. But he damaged my tent, and when he ran through and threw the pans at me, he did shake the tent and so violently it caused actual tears, not only in the tarp, but my tent roof. So we're on the eve of a fucking 4-day thunder and lightning storm, where some places are going to get 180 millimeters of rain. 18 centimeters. What's that, about 16 inches? No, that's not right. 18 centimeters divided by 2.5. 8? I don't know, do the fucking maths. 8 inches of rain. And I'm in a field where it all collects from the whole fucking city and flows through. Not the whole city, but a big chunk of it. And now I've got a rip in the tarp and a rip in my roof. But fortunately, they weren't one over the other. So I've duct taped the tent's roof on the inside. The tarp was offset from that, so any water that does go through the hole in the tarp should just run off. As I said, I'm not aware of water coming in from... There was a couple of drips through my duct tape because of a little wrinkle in the fabric. And because I can't put my hand outside and press down from the outside, I would only press upwards. I had one, wasn't a regular drip. I saw maybe 2 drops over a couple of hours. So as far as I'm aware, nothing came in from the roof. Some came in from that side wall, not on the first day of the storm. That held. It was only day 2 when it got really windy and pulled apart and the duct tape didn't hold. And then in the midst of the full storm, when the field had rivers flowing through it but hadn't flooded, I think we had a river run under the tent and out the other side and off to the road, and I think that's where the floors got wet. A tent this size, you're not going to keep the floor intact for months and months and months. It's going to, as you're walking on it and there's stones under it, stones and rocks and things, even though there's multiple carpets and previous tent floors and things, you're going to get water come in and up through the floor. So that's what I think happened. But yeah, but I had to do these critical repairs in the run-up to days of storms. Guy was off his tits. Now, he said the day after, when he came back, he said, ooh, alcohol. Man, I was right up close and personal with him. I mean, I was laying on his fucking chest and I headbutted him at one point and whatever. I didn't smell any alcohol at all. I'm thinking, or you know, I'm thinking drugs in some description. I didn't detect alcohol on him at all. I knew something was wrong with him because of the incoherence, the way he was asking me. He came down here and stood outside and said that his friends Nikita and... I said the name earlier. It's a lot like my name. Oh, no, I shouldn't say that. Dina. What's a Russian name for a bloke's name? It's either an N or an M. I think it's an M. M for mother. M for Mike. But he was insistent that his friends Nikita and Dima were here. And I'm like, mate, like that, I live here. And he's like, surprised, you live here? And I'm like, why do you think we've been fighting for the last fucking hour and a half? You keep coming in here, threatening me with violence and wanting to get in my tent. Fuck off. What a night. And all because I did that thing again. Stepping in where angels fear to tread. Someone's trying to rob the garage or vandalise the garage at the top of the street, so I go and stick my nose in. Will I ever learn? Will I ever learn? I'm amazed at the neighbours at the top of the road there. We stood there fighting on and off for half an hour, fighting and arguing, pushing and shoving and threatening, you know, every time he approached me aggressively and I push him away and shout. And of course I'm carrying the dog. I've only got one arm free half the time unless I put her down and go at him. And he could always go at the dog. I mean, that's always the worry. Nobody reacted. Nobody came out. Nobody phoned the police. Or if they did, they had the same fucking success I did. I don't know, folks. I'm going to switch to a different setting and switch back just to see whether... No, I think Jack attacks were the last ones about getting blocked and then the cheers. Nobody's talking to me. So far I've covered the fisticuffs. I've touched on the storm. I don't know I've got much more to say about the storm except... Oh my God! Yeah, I have. We were at the ground zero of two thunderbolts. 10 minutes apart. Flash and bang, absolutely simultaneously. Couldn't have got any closer. I was frightened to look out. I didn't want to see the trees explode or whatever. It was right on top of us. And it was, the word that we looked up at, was it a Christmas, Jack Attack? It was a thunderquake. When earlier than that, when there was deep rumbling, ongoing 30-second long thunder churning away in the background, I could feel it through my backside. I could feel it from the ground coming upwards. It was a thunderquake. EcoFlow charged instantly. Yeah, I guess. It might. I think the amperage might be a little above the limit to, and the voltage. I mean, both. They're going to be above the limits set on the inputs for the EcoFlow. Yeah, if we could channel a lightning rod into the XT60 port. I was frightened to go out. Honestly, I was more frightened than the dog on this one. It was literally instantaneous. Lightning and thunder at the same fucking split second, and so loud. I was frightened. I no problem admitting. I wanted to look out and see if any of the trees had been hit or the power poles, the power cables. But I was too frightened to. And I was really surprised that after we had that, there was no more thunder for 10 minutes. And then another huge one still on top of us. It hadn't moved. 10 minutes later, it was 2 miles away. It's 4 or 5 seconds, isn't it, for a mile? I think it's 3 for a kilometre, 3 seconds for a kilometre, 5 for a mile. And this thing was 8 or 9 seconds away. 10 minutes later, the flash and the clap were multiple seconds apart. But for 10 minutes, it held over us. That was really frightening. And like if that had gone off and you were in a house, you'd have maybe been kind of bricking yourself a bit. But when you're in a fucking fabric tent, and for what? Couple of hundred, no, maybe not a couple of hundred, let's say 100 meters. The tent's the tallest fucking item in the field, until you get to the trees that are another 30 or 40 meters that way. Yeah, no, I was a little worried, folks. I was a little worried. So we had the thunder, we had the lightning, we had the river. The road became a river. We had streams running through the field, and the rain was getting heavier. Big worry. It was a big. Thunderquake's a great word, or I don't know if it's one word or two, but yeah, no, that was a good find. I think you found the word. I was posing the question, because I was sat there and I could feel the thunder in the ground. I could feel the ground shaking from the thunder. So I was asking the question, I think it was New Year's Eve. I was asking the question, does thunder show up on, what do they call them, the earthquake detectors? I've lost the vocabulary. Seismographs. And it turns out they do, but they're localized and so get discounted from, if it's not detected by a network of seismographs, it gets discounted as a localized event. I guess it's the same as when a heavy bus or lorry goes past or something. Oh. Talk to me, folks. How many of you have heard of thunderquakes before? Have you ever experienced one where you feel the ground shake from the thunder? Speaking of which, I think we just had some thunder in the distance. I don't like that. The thunder and lightning was supposed to be in the morning. Where are we? It's only 11:15. Hold on. Let me get the weather forecast up. Or should I say weather forecasts? I never rely on one. Storms possible Monday afternoon. Yeah, then why am I hearing thunder now? Got the other one. I used 3 in total, including windy. I'm still using windy. None of these are mentioning. They got at 11. Sorry about that. Battery warning. There again. Is it thunder? Could it be a really rough sea? But then why does it sound like it's over there? The sea's over there. I'm not sure, folks. I'm hearing loud rumbling in the distance. I don't know. Thunderquake, yip, said Jack Attack. Did I put back to... I am on live chat. I'm seeing all messages. Nobody's talking. You're a very quiet bunch. So I've talked about the fisticuffs and the amount of bandaging the guy had on his hands. Let's jump back. I thought someone had said something new. Thunderquakes are seismic waves that originate from acoustic waves generated by thunder, which travel from the air to the ground. That's pretty much what I thought when I asked the question back on New Year's, I think it was New Year's Eve, possibly New Year's Day, because we had 36 hours of torrential rain at that point. I was wet through then because that was the old tent that was falling apart. That's the one that when we took the tarps off, all that was left was the bones, the poles. There was no tent left. Everything was just tarpaulins slung over the top. And those were failing. Water was coming in. The mattresses were getting wet through. I look back fondly at some of these disasters. I'm a strange one. I have been discussing with people. Well, people have been encouraging me to write a book. And some of them even say I should start writing it now. I figured I would use my TrampCast notes and YouTube videos to reconstruct this after the event when I get back to reality. But I do have quite a bit of time on my hands, don't I? I don't have a keyboard. I did have a keyboard. I had a not Bluetooth, wireless dongle keyboard. And with an OTG cable, that would have worked with phones or tablets. Now I've got a laptop. Yeah. So I guess I could. Have I mentioned the fact I'm a touch typist? Have I ever mentioned this? I used to type at 100 words a minute. Back in my youth. When you're programming, you're still a touch typist, but you're a lot slower. It's more ponderous, more thoughtful. It's more about thinking what to type rather than typing it fast. But yeah, that was the thing. I was that. Have I still got any drink left in this? I do have a little. Cheers, folks, especially to those that have hit the thumbs up. I think I'm going to have something similar but slightly different. If you bear with me, I'm going to have a little bit of vodka in my next one. Vodka and lemon. It's lemonade, but you know. I think vodka is normally like with bitter lemon or something, isn't it? I know you can have vodka and orange and vodka and coke and all those other drinks, but... Oh. It's only a small cap, a small lid, 2 measures. Again, thank you, Karen, or maybe I should say thank you, Christine. It's the free one that comes with the cigarettes in the tobacconist. I don't know if you know this, folks. In Spain, you can't buy cigarettes like in a supermarket or a newsagent. I've never seen a newsagent here, I don't think. Oh, there's one at the bus station. Coach station. A little bit more. Yeah, so you have to go to a specific tobacco shop. And when I first moved here, there were about 2 within an hour's walk in different directions. Now they seem to be popping up everywhere. It's a little bit like cash points, ATMs. When I first moved here, I couldn't find one. I had to walk into Torrevieja and go inside a bank to use the cash machines inside the bank. Now you've got all sorts of choices. You've got these freestanding ones, which are, as I understand it, are a rip-off on conversion rates. They rip you off on the exchange rate. But yeah, there's just so many more options for stuff like that than there was when I first moved here 9 years ago. 9.5, is it? Fuck. February it'll be 10 years since I came to Spain. Man, I'm going to be in so much shit when I leave. I don't know. I just jumped backwards. We're talking about the fridge again back there. Hold on. It wasn't. It was just a warning about being down to 50%. It wasn't a plug into power, but I will anyway because the other one is, the tablet is fully charged. So I will. Thank you for reminding me. Vodka is Moorish as well. Not in the same way that Baileys. Oh my god. I think I get this from my mum. I've told this one before. Sorry, Mum. Went to the Morecambe Hotel. Was it Christmas or New Year? I think it was New Year's Eve. She drank so much Baileys they had to go out. They opened the bottle when she started, and they had to go out like to another bar, to another pub, to get the next bottle of Baileys. And when we got home, how old would I have been here? This would be the early 90s, maybe. 90, let's say 92 as a ballpark, 1992. So that's not too long ago, is it? That's only 33 years. I think it is, isn't it? Not that long. I start off saying it's not that long ago, and it's 33 fucking years. But we get home, and we open the front door, and we've got this little vestibule, red tiles, with grout and what have you on the floor. And my mum just goes, bah, bah, bah. And basically, there's a bottle of Baileys on the fucking floor. We're both a bit pissed. We've had a good night out, and we decide, fuck it, we'll get it in the morning. We'll clean that in the morning. And when we got up the day, I think I got up before her, came down the stairs, and man, the stench. When you've had vomit lying on the floor overnight. I'm seeing Mr. Oh, okay, Mr. S has arrived. Mr. Sharafja. Over here, the ATMs are disappearing. Yeah, that's interesting. I hear that. But banks are disappearing as well. Bank branches are disappearing. I guess they're pushing you all towards the electronic stuff, the cards and internet and all the electronic stuff. For me, if I'm forced in that direction, I'll use the electronic stuff to get cash. Now here's the thing, they don't do cash back in Spain. I don't know if they still do it in the UK. When I left the UK, so you went to a supermarket and let's say you spent £20, and the staff would ask, you want any cash back? And so you could get 10, 20, 30 pounds, you know, they'd add it to your bill basically and give you the cash. Don't do that in Spain. I don't know about other countries in Europe or around the world. Is cashback a thing still? Is that still a thing in the UK? See, what I don't want is to do tippy-tappy and have the bank having a record of everywhere you've purchased and everything you've purchased. I don't want the shop having a fucking record of who I am. You know, loyalty cards are just a way of spying on you, so they can make those weird associations that they make. When a young couple are buying nappies, they're twice as likely as other people to buy a case of beer while they're there. So they move the nappies and the beer closer together. I don't want them spying on me and knowing that shit. I'm not buying nappies yet. But I want to, if I have to use a card, I want to use it in a machine and get the cash out, and then I'll just spend the cash. Untraceable. I don't want to when you watch things like NCIS or any of those cop shows in America, they're just, oh yeah, this guy in the last month he's bought this and this. Oh, he's obviously a terrorist because he bought this chemical and that chemical and he's rented a van. Oh, clearly a terrorist. How are the police able to pull that shit up? How do they know what you bought in the last fucking month? They can't do that if you use cash. Fuck. I don't know when this cough started. It's annoying me though. I think there was a few days when Joby was still here in the field. He's moved on, by the way, and he's not having a good time. I'll tell you about that momentarily. When he was here, I had a day where I got a sore throat. It was one night, and then it was still there a little bit. It kind of disappeared through the day, and it came back the next night. And kind of since then, I've just got this. It's mainly a dry cough. But it is there. It is a cough, and it's annoying me. I don't know what to do about it. I guess chasing after kids the other day won't have helped either. Suddenly going for a fucking 100-meter sprint. I haven't really talked about that much yet, have I? I'll talk about Joby. So the English guy that used to live in the field with me that went off on... He went and lived south of Torrevieja for a while. And then he went on his travels. He got a bike off somebody. Supposed to be an electric bike, but the battery was so expensive. Needed a replacement battery. And the replacement battery was like 1,300 quid. So he took all the electrics off and just turned it into a bike. And off he went on his travels around Spain. Right down from here, down to the south coast, past Gibraltar and halfway back up the coast on the other side. And then he heard that a friend of his had died, and he lost interest in his Camino is the word they use. Pilgrimage would be an approximate translation. But his journey, he lost interest in it, so he just cut across the country to Cartagena, which is down in Murcia, about 60 kilometres south of here. And then he made his way back to the place he'd been staying south of Torrevieja. But while he was gone, they'd invited other people into the camp, and these people were real hardcore drug addicts. And they stole from him. So he told them to fuck off, and he left. And he came, in the end, he ended up back here for almost a month, I think. But he was unable to make a real living here. It seems that busking here doesn't... People have stopped giving. So he decided to move on, and he went and tried another town nearby, a place called San Luis. He tried, and he got shooed away by the shopkeepers, pushed away from their storefronts and their forecourt onto a narrow footpath right in front of a big main road, so nobody could hear him. So he binned that off, and he ended up further north in a place called Santa Pola, well on the way to Alicante. While there, somebody's nicked his bike. He had it chained up at night, and he's fallen asleep, and they've sawn through the chain or the padlock, whichever, and taken off with his bike, leaving him stranded. I think he said he got again. It's this sleep deprivation thing. You get so far behind with your sleep that you're knocked out, and they could literally walk in the fucking tent here. If it wasn't for the fact I've got a dog, they could walk in here, I wouldn't notice. And obviously the same with him. Someone stood there with a hacksaw and sawed his padlock or chain off his bike and taken off with it. So I think he called a friend who picked him up and took him to another town, and he's now there. But he was saying during the storm, his tent had a literal river running under it, wasn't leaking in. Smaller tent, so you can keep the floor intact, keep the moisture out. But he was sat there freezing. So I hope he's okay. And his phone, I can text him. He can't message back unless he finds somewhere with an open Wi-Fi spot. So I hope he's okay. I should text him and find out. So that's my mate. Honestly, I know people don't like these electric scooters, but as a way of moving one person from A to B, I find the idea preferable to that. That might just be me. They're everywhere here. Torrevieja is very accommodating to them. And Spain's trying to integrate it into law so that you can use them. Currently they're technically illegal, but the police, they're in so much use that the police would be overwhelmed just handing out tickets and processing people for riding them. So they've kind of they've had to let it go. It's just policing by consent, not by consensus, what's it called? Consent. Policing by consent, I guess. Either just that or just they haven't got that many resources to deal with it all. But for one guy to move up the road and make that much fucking noise, I'm not a fan. Where was I? I was talking about Jovi. Did I finish with that? I think I was there or thereabouts, finished with that. I said he had this river running under his tent and it was really cold. I told him to boil some water and put it in a 2-litre pop bottle, wrap it in a towel and cuddle it all night. That's what I did when I was cold, before I had electric blankets. Not bad for a tramp, is it? Am I a tramp or am I a glamp? I don't know. Let me check chat, see whether anyone said anything. There was Mr. S arriving. If I'm out, I get blue balls in my Baileys. Oh no. Used to put blue balls in cider or lager. It turned green. Call it rocket fuel. Probably had a few other names. But this was what, 1984 or 5? I would have been about 16 and in the nightclubs. I had a healthy moustache. I got away with it. Plus people weren't that bothered back then. Joanne, hello. Hope the brats have been leaving you alone. They have. Oh, there's John arriving. Even Mike, how do you manage with the storm? We managed okay. We've got a wet floor in the central part. So if you know these big tents, you've got the main envelope, you've got the main container, the main tent, and then each bedroom has its own floor and walls and everything as well. So it got wet in the central part, The bedroom stayed dry until about 3/4 of the way through it all, and then I put my hand down and it was starting to get damp. So it's made its way inside the outer floor, the outer layer, and it's taken longer to get through and find a way in to the bedrooms. My main worry is that I've got a lot of sheets, blankets, quilts, bedding, clothing. I got a lot of things stored in the other bedroom, and if that's as damp as this one is, I'm gonna have to take everything out and dry the bottom layer. And then I've got these planks from this bed that was thrown away a few weeks ago. No, months ago, wasn't it? I still need to take the screws out of that. My friends lent me a screwdriver set to take the bolts and whatever out of that, the nuts and bolts. Screws, I think that. I just think the big wood screws. And I still haven't done it months later. I need to dry that wood off, take all this out, dry it, and then put the wood in with gaps in between so that everything's off the ground that little bit. Or, because I've already got the next tent, I could consider that. But see, we put this new tent up at I think a wrong time. I mean, I was forced into it because, like I said, the old tent, there was no tent there. It was only the poles left, the poles on the floor, and a bit of, not cordage, but a bit of something holding the poles apart. But the walls were gone, the roof was gone, the ends were going or gone. So we had to do it when we did it. I'm not sure when it was. April, maybe May. My ideal would have been to wait to the end of summer, because you get no rain in summer, or hardly any rain in summer. My idea would have been to wait for autumn. So I would have just been putting a new tent up just before this storm, ideally. You're not getting beaten down by high temperatures, by ultraviolet, all of this stuff. See, I've maintained a tarp over the top of the tent, but it's still gone through. Even though I kept the ultraviolet more or less off. Now, some of it was people throwing stones, some of it was this guy that attacked me the other day. But the truth of the matter is, it started to go. I got a second tear the day after that one over there, the big one in the roof. The day after that, one above my bedroom tore, and I had to duct tape it up. But I think putting a new tent up at the beginning of summer is less than ideal. You should be able to just roll with what you've got through summer, because you're not really going to get that much rain. I mean, when it does rain, it rains, because, you know, Spain. As the playlist I have says, the rain in Spain falls mainly on me. But ideally, I would have just been putting this new tent up now, this tent now, rather than the beginning of summer. Summer is harsh on tents because of the heat, because of the ultraviolet, all of that stuff. Putting it up ready for winter and covering it with a big tarp like this. Yeah, this tarp is perishing. I know the guy attacked it the other day, and I know we've had stones thrown at it. I know all of that. But I think it's become, what was that word we looked up way back? Frangible. Frangible. When plastic becomes brittle through these processes. Well, when anything becomes brittle. Frangible. It's a good word. It's a lovely word. I do like it. Oh, Tina's running in her sleep. No doubt I'll be getting kicked any minute now. For anyone late joining, I guess we can try. Can we try? The last I saw, she was under the covers with me. Is that not going to work? There we go. and the light. Here she is, look. Here she is. She head twitching. She's running in her sleep. Hey, baby girl. You're my baby girl. You were a lot closer than the phone made her look further away. I was reaching for her and she's here. Hey, baby. Daddy's here. I got you. I got you. Let's keep you. Are you lying on your blanket? You're supposed to be under the blanket, sweetheart. No, don't wake up. Don't wake up. You're okay. You enjoy a run in your sleep. Daddy's got you. I've woken you up, haven't I? I'm sorry, babe. I didn't mean to. Daddy's sorry. I got you. I got you. You're my girl. You're my girl. Okay, folks, there's Tina. No. No, lay down, darling. You're okay. Oh, okay, you're coming this way. You're coming this way for a cuddle. Can I get this out from under you? This is not supposed to be under you. This is supposed to be over you. Okay, there you go. I get that a little bit more. Okay, there she is. She likes to go under the blanket. Okay, folks, that's my Tina girl. For anyone that hadn't seen her in a while, I know how much you guys... I don't want to... You see these channels where they make a big deal of their dog all the time to try and... I don't know. Try and stir up emotions and get people on board. I don't want to be too much like that, but I know some of you guys like to see my Tina girl. What's this about a guy attacking you? Oh, I'm not going to repeat the whole story here. If you go back to if you watch it tomorrow maybe on catch up and watch the first half of the show, basically I'll give you the 2-second version. A guy was trying to break into either break in or vandalise the petrol station at the top of the road, 4 in the morning. So I walked Tina up that way. The guy kind of was aggressive towards me. So I had to put Tina on the ground and deal with him. After I dealt with him a couple of times, because he kept saying it's over, he kept kind of conceding. A submission, isn't it, in wrestling? Is it 2 falls, a knockout, or a submission? Yeah, no, so he looked like he was walking away. I walked home and he doubled back and followed me down the road. And for 2 hours, he kept coming down. We'd have a scuffle. He'd lose. He'd go away, lay down in the main road, get up, come back down, go again, go away, come back, go again, and again, and again. And one time, he ran through the field, threw pots and pans at me, shook the tent and caused the tarps to split. But I got a split in the roof that night, so I'm assuming that was him. And then we battled. I chased him up the field, got hold of him, put him on the deck, and I punched him or pushed. I'm not sure whether I pushed or punched, but he went down. He landed awkwardly. He cut his hand on something, and even then he wouldn't stop. He got quite a bad cut, blood everywhere over the next hour and a half. But he wouldn't let it go. Every time he lost, he'd fuck off, and then he'd come back 5 or 10 minutes later, time and time again. And then the next day the cunt comes back, all bandaged up, saying, I don't mean you any harm. And I'm like, yeah, you said that last night 20 times, and every time you'd either try and punch me or throw stones at me. And no, he came back and he wanted me to help him find his phone and his wallet. Found his phone, didn't find his wallet. What can you do, folks? I won all 12 rounds. Now, when I put him on the ground, he did lash out and kick a couple of times. He did get one punching up in the initial fight at the garage. I do remember being punched once. I was kicked a couple of times while I was on the ground, and he did hit me with some stones or rocks that he was throwing at one point, which is what got me. And the 2 pans he threw at me both hit. One on the chest and one on the back of the head, because I don't know, I turned to try and avoid it, but obviously I should have ducked rather than just turning my head. I've got a little lump This is 3 or 4 days ago now, but I've got a little lump on the back of my head still. I've got some bruises, some tenderness on my thighs where he's kicked me. I did headbutt him, but I haven't got any consequences from that. So yeah, lots of punches, lots of headbutts, lots of kicking and fucking, stone throwing from both of us. Because once someone's throwing stones at you, they're attacking you from range. You gotta attack back from range. I mean, what else can you do? But everything was him initiating. Each and every battle was him initiating, me defending. I don't know, folks. I called the police didn't come. Can you imagine in the UK calling 999 and not having the police turn up? Like, while I was on the phone with him, he was still here, fucking saying he was going to kill me, he was going to hit me, calling me all these words. Peter. It's a word like Peter and bled. Bled and Peter. Some kind of Slavic language, whether it was Russian, Ukrainian, Polish, Hungarian, Eastern European. I don't fucking. But bled and Petra, I don't know. But he kept shouting that a lot as if it was a major insult, and I'm just laughing, saying, I've no idea what that is, mate. Fuck off. Now go home, you're having a bad night. He lost his phone, he lost his wallet, he cut both hands to bits on whatever he landed on in the field. Whether it was glass, whether it was metal, I've no idea. And he got punched and headbutted and kicked, and he had a bad night. Now, mine wasn't great, but I won every round. And he's like, what, mid-20s, maybe 30? And I'm nearly fucking 60. What am I? Somebody tell me my age. I think I'm 57 this year. In a month or so. A little bit over. So the guy's half my age. I don't know what he was on, but the police didn't come out. I'm calling them. He's here attacking me, shouting at me, telling me all the things he's going to do, throwing stones and rocks at me and at my tent. And the police did not turn up. I don't know. I guess once you're a tramp, you don't count. Is this something I should take up with my friend the mayor? Friend. I don't know, folks. Anyway, let's move on. I was only going to give a 2-minute summary. There was Tina, yeah. Idiot, was he drunk? The next day when he came back, he said he had been drunk. I was this far from him. We were grappling on the ground. I was kneeling on him. I was headbutting him. I was punching him, kicking him. I didn't smell any alcohol at all. I mean, there was something fucking wrong with him. Just the way he kept coming back and coming back and coming back and coming back. The way he was trying to get into my tent and asking to see his friends Nikita and Dima. I've settled on M in the middle rather than N. So M for Mike in the middle rather than N for November. I'll go with Dima. He thought Dima and Nikita lived here in my tent. He kept asking me if I'd seen his friends. This is after we've been battling. This is after I've beaten the shit out of him 10, 12, 15 fucking times over the course of 2.5 hours, whatever it might be. Longest fucking night of my life, folks. Because when he wasn't here, I couldn't come inside and relax. I had to just go around the other side of the tent, sit down and waited until I heard his feet scuffing down the road. Fuck do you do? I guess I should have called the police like an hour earlier, but wouldn't have made any difference on balance, would it? But I called the police and I tried to call him an ambulance. You're an ambulance. No. I tried to do the right thing, but the guy, he was outclassed at every fucking step of it. But wouldn't stop. It was annoying that he wouldn't stop. And then he comes back the next day. I'm not here to hurt you. I don't wish you any harm. And I'm like, yeah, you said that 20 times last night and then threw rocks at me. Not stones, fucking rocks. Sometimes stones. Sometimes a whole handful of stones, or a tracksuit full of stones, and then keep hold of the tracksuit, use it as like a slingshot. I don't know what you do, folks, with people like that, and in situations like that. I mean, I guess... Oh, I can't say that. What can I say? Let me say this. Each time that I won, I stopped and let him go. One solution to him coming back and coming back and coming back would have been just not to stop and let him go. Just don't stop. Just keep going. But I was a boxer and Marquis of Queen. Now, I was not obeying Marquis of Queensberry. Like I said, there was kicks, there was all sorts. There was kicks while he was on the ground. There was punches while he was on the ground. Because he was lashing out at me still while he was on the ground. But I do still have that sportsmanship. Once you've won, let it go. But he wouldn't. He kept coming back and coming back. I'm talking in public here, folks. I've got to be very careful about what I say, because that's a hypothetical. I could have carried on pounding away on him in order to incentivize him to stop coming back. But I didn't, because that's not my way. But he was a physical threat to me, much younger than me, a little bit taller than me, possibly a little bit broader, I'm not 100% sure. I was worried each time we grappled or scuffled or punched, And when he was going to punch me, he wasn't always just trying to punch me. He'd got this tracksuit top that he was kind of try to whip me with. And like I said, sometimes he'd put stones in it and do it, and a flurry of pebbles and rocks would come out. So there's all that. Anyway, that was a 2-minute summary. The police over here seem pretty useless. Not when they want to be. They like to go hands-on over nothing whenever they can. Against me, anyway. But no, Tina must have been scared. Yeah, and that was the thing. Every time I turn around while I'm scuffling with him, she comes back out of the tent, and then I've got to, while he's just walking away, I've got to put her back inside the tent. And then the cunt will turn around, get halfway up the road and turn around and come back. Or walk past as if he lives at the bottom of the road and then come back from the bottom of the road. 2.5 hours of that shit. None of the neighbours rang the police or well, I can't say that, but the police just never came out. He says the next day he said he was drunk, but I was this close to him at times, folks. I mean, I literally headbutted him. I was right in his face. I didn't smell any alcohol. I'm thinking, and not just like marijuana or whatever. I'm thinking he was on something else. When I was on the phone to the police, he was gobbing off at me. And after I stopped talking to the police, because they were supposedly on the way, then he begged me not to call the police. I mean, what do you do? How? But he was still asking for Nikita and Dima. In the end, he went off up the road and he went along the main road shouting and screaming, because he got it into his head. He started to panic. He got it into his head that he was going to bleed out, because he was bleeding quite badly, in particular from one hand. I think his right hand it was. But when he came back the next day, he had them both bandaged. So whatever he'd fallen on, whether it was glass, metal, whatever it was in the field, maybe just the rocks on the ground or these prickly bushes or whatever. I don't know. He hurt himself when he went over. Could be mentally ill, possibly. But I mean, the next day he seemed fairly rational. He tried apologising to me and then asking me to apologise for hurting him. I said, get the fuck. You were attacking, I was defending. One of us deserves an apology, the other not so much. But he asked me to help him look for his phone, so he had no real clue of where he'd been or what he'd done, I don't think. So I told him that he'd run from the bottom of the field up this path, and basically I was just trying to guide him up the field and fucking away. But we reached a certain point where he'd gone over during some of the scuffles, and he found his phone. I just went back to the tent, and he hung around for about 10 minutes looking for his wallet, but then I came back out and he'd gone. I was sure to look around for 5 or 10 minutes in case he was like trying to hide behind a tree and double back and come back to... It would be so easy to come back and just vandalise the tent or steal things or come back with friends or come back with a knife. I gotta be wary of this shit. Sorry, I'd already covered all this. This was a 2-minute rehash and it turned out not to be. But yeah, that was for Joanne's benefit. She was asking. And anybody else who joined late. But yeah, 2 calls to the emergency number. 2 calls to the emergency services. And like I said, 36 hours later, a white car pulled up here. I went out. It turned out it was the police, and they just reversed and fucked off. So even that can't... I don't think a 36-hour response time to a 112 call, the European emergency number. I don't think that a 36-hour response is the way to go. Was it 36? Might have been 26. I don't know. It was over 24 anyway. I don't know, folks. What else can I say about it? Let's have another go at asking you guys. It sounds like drugs, yeah. What's the weather for the next week over there? We've got thunder and lightning coming in tomorrow at some point. I don't think... I tried looking before, didn't I? Because I thought I heard thunder here. Could have just been it could have been something. Sometimes you get a heavy bus or lorry or something on the road and it can sound like thunder. Hold on, let me do Monday, and there's like a 20 or 30% chance of rain most of the day until the afternoon. Then we get some sunshine, but it's only 20, 30, 40%, so those might not happen. 11, well, 12 is thunder and lightning. Total rain for the day, 1.8 millimeters. In the middle of the storm, they were telling me 25 millimeters in the next hour. I think it went up. I think we had 47 at one point. It said 47 millimeters for 1 or 2 hours. Glad that never happened. But it's interesting the way that the forecasts did or didn't work. What else? So Monday, supposedly rain all day. Thursday's got a little bit of rain. The following Mondays looks like it's got a little bit of rain. It is a little bit as well. The Thursday's a little bit. Monday's a significant amount. Nearly 10 millimeters in a week's time. The other days are cloudy and sunny. So it's not bad. Temperatures, daytime temperatures 24, 25, 22 and 23 on the colder days. And I'll be honest, those do feel cold now. I've adapted to Spanish climate in these 10 years. And 22s and 23s do feel cold. Nighttime temperatures 18, 19. We still get some that are 20. Never fall below 20, but most do now. We have broken the run of tropical nights, which is what they call it when the temperature doesn't fall below 20 at any point in the night. And we've had a record number of those this year. 110? 20? I can't remember what the figure was. But we've had an extreme. I don't remember until a couple of days ago, maybe a week ago. I don't remember. Don't know how long I was gone, folks. It says reconnecting. I was just saying, I don't remember until maybe a week ago. I had not seen a weather forecast predicting temperatures below 20 degrees at night since April or May. Every single night. I do not remember one night where they said, oh, 18 or 19. I don't know, how many is that? Let's say it was May. So June, July, August, September. A good 4 months and maybe more. Almost every night. I didn't see any forecasting list. Now what the actual yeah, Karen and Barry, the Scottish couple in Spain, have moved. Yeah, they did up to see me. We tried to set that up. That was so in those last few days. That was when we had the storm here, not the storm we've just had, but the one the week before, the one where all my things moved 4 meters or 6 meters or 8 meters that way. The one when I think the field actually flooded, but I slept through. So they'd said, they'd been in touch and said, hey, we're going to try and come and see you before we move. But then the storm happened, and it would have been the last couple of days as well of trying to get... If you've ever tried to pack up and move house or apartment, you've got a lot on. So they didn't manage it. We've not chatted, but exchanged messages and comments and things since. Good luck to them. They've done me some good favours with coverage. Both times they've interviewed me on screen, I got a massive boost in followers. Also both times I got a massive boost in trolls. Scotty808, hello. You're 2 hours late. What's your excuse? I'm only joking. But yeah, Scottish couple in Spain have moved. They're now down on the south coast somewhere, aren't they? Yeah, Nurka. I'm not sure how the J's pronounce in this particular case. It can be regional, whether it's just a y or whether it's a h, more like a K. As in Torrevieja, which Big Clive refuses to try and say anymore. Even though it's not far, the weather's nice. Yeah, I mean they're down on the south coast somewhere, aren't they? It's not too far, but it's a good distance south of here. So yeah, drinking port. What's port? That's another one that's too Moorish. That's very, very sweet. That's almost treacle. Oh, port. When did I last have port? When I was in the UK at Christmas. Why did I have port? I was in a wine club. I would get a case of wine delivered each month, and at Christmas it came with a bonus, which was a bottle of port. Can't remember what the wine club was called now, but Joanne couldn't drink that. Port. It is lovely, but it's so lovely that you'll pour a small amount and have a sip, like in a sherry glass or something, small measure. But it's like we were talking about Bailey's earlier, because the reason that I missed a stream, I think last weekend, last Sunday, I'd set the stream up. I'd said, yeah, 10 o'clock, yeah. And then 8:30, I fall asleep. Because my friend Ryan, for Torrevieja, who isn't here at the minute, he'd come down and his mum had given me a bottle of Baileys, which I'd sipped at. And I'd sipped about half a bottle of it that afternoon and early evening. On top of whatever else I would have drunk in the afternoon anyway. Baileys is too nice, yeah. Oh, there he is. Hey. Crazy days, world's gone insane. Be careful out there. Indeed. Yeah, I've had a rough week. I hope you guys have all had better weeks than I've had. A better week than I've had. It's certainly been eventful. It's been exciting. I've had a good workout. You know, a 2-hour stand-up, knockdown fist fight is even not the places where you've been hit, but the fact that you're throwing punches, the fact that you're dancing around, the fact that you're dodging, ducking and diving, weaving. And when he went down and then started lashing out with the feet and he'd catch my thighs or legs, these are all things that ache now. You know, like I was just saying, I'm nearly 57. He was mid to late 20s, I would guess. I mean, I can't be sure. I'm terrible at guessing ages. But, like I said, in my head, I won every round. I only remember catching one punch to the face, or I think it was the head. I did headbutt him. There were lots of punches thrown, lots of misses because I'm old. But I landed a fair few. He went over a few times. And then there was kicks exchanged both ways. I mean, I wasn't doing Marquis of Queensberry. But all of these things leave aches and pains. And some of the pains are only emerging. They're still emerging. Today I discovered a tender spot on my thigh that I didn't know about, which I put down to having been kicked there when he first went over and was lashing out, and I'm too close because we've just been stood toe to toe. I don't know. It's different. There's a level of excitement about it, but not in a good way. I would have rather it not happened. So when he was trying to break into the petrol station, and I was telling him, just fuck off, you're a thief. I'm not going to walk away and leave you to just carry on trying to get in. It's just not in my nature to walk away and leave someone to do bad things. So I made him come away with me. He went up the main road and I went down this track. Then he doubled back. I mean, what are you going to do? So we had that. We had the kids throwing stones, and then we've had a 3 or 4 day storm. I'd say 3-day storm. The weather forecast was for 4 days, but yesterday just didn't happen. Yesterday was supposed to be rain all day. Not as heavy as the other days. Hold on, I forgot this right. Yeah, Friday was the heavy day. Thursday was the beginning of the storm. Friday was supposed to be like somewhere between 50 and 70 millimeters. And at times it was going to be 50 millimeters an hour. Saturday was still going to be raining. Except they kept putting it back and putting it back and putting it back. And it ended up... So I said about my EcoFlow, like, not running out of power, but it hit this 25% limit that I'd set. When it's supposed to carry on working, and you can access the settings, and then you lower the limit to free up that power. It hit the 25 and just turned off. It was useless. It was a brick. Fortunately, that was 4 in the morning. 8 or 9, I was able, because the sun was shining. Maybe 9, somewhere between 9 and 10. It's winter, it's getting later, but the sun's up above the trees. But as soon as I plugged the EcoFlow into the solar power, solar cable, it came on, and I was able to get up from 25. It was a slow haul all day. I thought we were going to finish on 40 or 50%, but then in the afternoon it got out proper sunny, and I finished on like 80, 83 maybe. I was aiming for 90, but we didn't make it. I even chased the sun. I took the solar panel around to face west towards the end of the day, sunset. Didn't quite get to 90, but close enough. I will use about 25% overnight because I've got multiple devices to charge now, tablet and phone, and lights and whatever else. Well, maybe I'll use 20. 5 will have been lost. Maybe I left the fan running too long as the solar panel got shade. So you fall down to 95. You lose 20, you're on 75. And then you've got a whole day with no sun because of storms. And you've got a whole night, obviously, no sun because night. And then you're getting a little bit desperate then. You're down to 25 or so. And you know that if that day you don't get any sun, you're going to be struggling. Got a couple of small power banks. One of them that someone gave me is really lightweight, which you tell a lot about a power bank by its weight. I plug this thing in until all 4 lights are on, and even then I leave it. Some of these things don't indicate properly. They show all 4 lights and they're still taking a charge, but some of them not. As soon as I plug this thing in, it drops down to like 2 fucking lights rather than 4. As soon as I'm charging something from it, maybe it flashes for 30 seconds and then bang, you're down to 2. It did carry on. I did manage to put quite a bit of power into the phone from it, even while it was on its last light flashing. So it was better than nothing. I was glad of it. But yeah, I was getting worried. When the weather forecast says the next day is going to be rain all day, you're on 25%. Now my friend Karen has offered, in such circumstances, she'll bring her EcoFlow around and charge mine. That's nice, but I don't like to put people out. When I told her this at the end of that day, when I was up to 80 odd, and when I told her I'd been down to 20 and was worried, 25 and was worried, why didn't you say? And I'm like, because you've got like a half-hour drive to get through. She's not actually a half an hour away, but if you come through the centre of town, it's half an hour away. So yeah, I don't like to put people out. I figured I could get to 50 fairly reliably. In the end, I got above 80, and then today was sunny. So that all. White port. I've never experienced the phenomena. I thought all port was a deep dark red. White port. Baileys get sickly after a while. Not for me. Well, no, I got tired after a while. Well, let's put that another way. I was already tired. I already had a sleep deficit. And then a couple of beers in the afternoon, and then half a bottle of Baileys, and that's why I didn't do last Sunday. Even though I'd set the live stream up, I fell asleep somewhere around 8:30 when I'd set the stream. I think for 10, might have been 9:30, not sure. No, the garage is not 24 hours. No. Did you go to the garage the next day? No, the next day was the storm. I wasn't stepping foot outside that day. Well, if I could find a minute to take Tina for her ablutions. I don't have anything to do with the garage. They don't talk to me, I don't talk to them. It's very expensive in there, I'm told. So no. Didn't have anything to do with the garage after the guy was trying to break in there. Now the next morning, what surprised me, they normally open at 7 in the morning. The morning after the guy had been trying to break in, and then we'd had our couple of scuffles up there at the start of the night's proceedings. The staff didn't open up until 8:30 the next day. Now I don't know whether that was just a lack of staff, or whether it was because of maybe I'd called the police and said this guy was trying to break in there, and then we'd started scuffling, and then we'd had 2 hours down here of stand-up, knockdown fighting. I'd call the police about that. Maybe they've contacted Repsol, or maybe they haven't because they didn't respond to me. So maybe Repsol know nothing about it. But I've had nothing to do with Repsol over that night or the next with the stone throwing kids. I don't think we took any damage from the kids. I'm not sure. I can't specifically identify holes in the tarp that weren't there before. And there's certainly no damage to the tent itself that wasn't there before. I put the video out there. It seems to be doing quite well. It's been watched 300 or 400 times, I think. Sometime someone will see someone that they recognise. A parent, a teacher, a headmaster, a police officer, I don't know. Someone will see something and maybe take care of it. Or maybe the kids will see it and just get frightened that somebody's gonna see it. Karen, a good mate to you. She's here in Spain at the minute. She had to go back for a little while because she's got a business. She went back. She's trying to cram like a month's worth of haircuts into a couple of weeks, and on occasion just over a week, maybe 10 days. Yeah, she's been a very good friend to me. Now, we first met online during TrampCast 001. She was about the third. This is not true. She's the third person that still comes up when you do chat replay. Now, if people block me or unsubscribe, because I think it was a subscriber only video, subscriber only chat. So I think if someone unsubscribes, I think they get removed from the chat replay. Certainly if I block them at some future point, or maybe if they've blocked me, they don't appear. But Karen's really early in the hellos. She said hello early, but the real thing was later on, towards maybe 3/4 of the way through. She said, "Oh, I'm a hairdresser, I can come and cut your hair." Because if you watch my first videos, I had the beard down here, like in a rectangle coming down, and long hair. It had been a ponytail at one point, but I had to cut that. I had to cut all of it off. It all got stuck together with rotten elastic bands. Yeah, you'll see, because any day now I will finally get around to releasing my first ever video, re-releasing my first ever video with the additional commentary that I've done. There's no clever editing or anything. I would have loved to have been able to use OBS, Open Broadcast System, or whatever it's called, and do a proper React video. I just had to watch bits, stop it, record me, and then cut those together. It's a little bit tedious, really, which is part of the reason it got delayed on my 3rd anniversary of being homeless, and again why it didn't get released on my 3rd anniversary of being in this field, which again was during this last week, on the 10th, just a couple of days ago. Friday maybe. When was the 10th? This is the 12th, so 2 days ago. Yeah, Friday. Could have gone live, but the weather wasn't very conducive. This time, folks, recently I've been doing them from outside on the table. We're back indoors. We're back. We didn't get very much of a summer or I didn't take advantage of the summer to sit outside much this year. Not just for TrampCast, but in general, I didn't sit outside much. Maybe until Joby came back to the field, and then we would sit out every morning for our morning coffees. And sometimes I'd have a breakfast soup. My idea of luxury was either a cup of soup or a packet soup with added rice or pasta. That's a typical breakfast. Josie! Hello, hello. Here's another good mate, everybody. Say hello to Josie. Josie left me with, in the 2 or 3 days before she left, she brought me a box full of, well, there was food and there was also utilitarian things, bin bags and duct tape and, useful stuff. And then on the day she left, her and her husband Peter came by and brought, I'm going to say 3 bags of food. I think 3 bags of food. Thank you. At a similar time, Karen brought me stuff as well. So this is why my floor is crammed full of. I'm overflowing with food. I just sat here today picking out some smoked salmon. Get this for a tramp. I've had smoked salmon. I've had some boiled ham. What else? Oh, cheese. I've been picking at the cheeses as well. I got a bag of Werther's Originals, not the boiled sweets, but like a toffee or fudge. Not bad for a tramp, folks, eh? Cheers to Josie and Peter. Thank you. I guess I've got to say cheers to Karen as well and her family. Cheers, Karen and family. But yeah, it's been a hell of a week. Thumbs up, folks, if you haven't already. How long ago was your first video? So the first video was in I think May. It was the back end. It was the last week of May. That'll be like 2.5 years ago now, won't it? 2 ladies bought me that put together and bought me a phone. And then we had one of these like now, so spring and autumn are when you get these big storms, these Gottefriers, or as they're now calling them, Danas. Cold drop, these big thunderstorms. You don't get them so much in winter, you don't get them so much in summer. It's mainly an autumn and spring thing. So we were out, I had a weather forecast showing 10 days of 10 days of thunder and lightning, 10 days of continuous storms. And I had a phone. I wasn't even in a tent at this point. I had 6 broom handles in the ground with a tarpaulin put over the top and some branches that I'd acquired from a skip, fastened to some. I'd put some stakes in the ground. I fastened these branches, one at each side, and then bent them over into an arch, so that my tarpaulin had a convex roof. I always have to stop and think convex and concave. Had a convex roof, had the curved, had an arch for a roof from these branches. So I wasn't even in a tent, I was just under a broken tarp. And this tarp had been in the sun for 3 months and had gone very brittle and was falling apart. So that was my first ever video. My first ever live stream was 3 or 4 months after that, because you have to build up your audience before you can live stream. So TrampCast 001, I'm not sure when that happened. Maybe in the August or the September after that. So just over 2 years ago for the first live stream, when I met Karen. Yeah, and things got a lot more interactive after that. Being able to chat with you guys and react to chat. I'm slouching, folks. I'm slouching. I apologise. I want to sit up a bit more vertical. So yeah, I mean it's been a while, hasn't it? It's been a while. Whoa. Just use it, don't thank him. No, I have to be grateful. I don't want to If I don't appear grateful to people, if it looks like I'm taking it for granted, other people won't help me. Okay, we're up to date there. There was a big post and it jumped when I got there. Here we go. How to do an SOC calibration. What's SOC? Have I missed some other conversation? No. Set the charge and discharge limit to 0 to 100. Charge it till there's no input. Power discharge it till it shuts down itself. Repeat this process 2 to 3 times. What's SOC? State of charge. Okay. Yeah, no, it's reading the state of charge properly. It just misbehaved. I think they forced a firmware update. Yeah, I was thinking system on chip. I was leaning in that direction, but it didn't make sense. What was I saying? When it says 25%, it is 25%, but it's supposed to stop outputting power except for the USB-A sockets. But the Bluetooth and all the other controls should all still work, and I should be able to change the settings. So let's say I've got it set for 30% as the cutoff. Then I should be able to knock it down to 25 to free up 5%. And when we approach 25, knock it down to 20. I should have this stuff available and at my command. But the entire fucking device just went off when it hit that limit. They've forced through a firmware update, is my guess. And the firmware update has a bug. It misbehaves. It doesn't behave in the intended manner when it gets down to that power management limit. Would be my... it might say 25, but only be 5. I'm not sure, because if I... Or what I'll do, tomorrow I will take that limit off. And... or maybe I won't risk running it down below 25 before I plug it in. Where are we now? 87. I'm not gonna burn that. At some point, I'll take that limit off and let it go lower when I know that we've got 2 or 3 days of solid sunshine ahead. When I'm sitting here waiting on thunderstorms, I'm not going to take it away. I have no reason to distrust the limit. Like I said, it turned straight back on as soon as it was connected to an active input, to an active power source. Phone is currently plugged in, yeah. Only on 53%. Why is it only drawing 5 watts? Damn thing should go up to 14. The tablet reliably takes 14 watts every time. Well, this thing doesn't even reliably connect. Why is it not doing anything? Now it's reading 6. That'll drop to 5 momentarily. I don't know, folks. It's a pain in the bum. I don't know. What can you do? Yeah, I'll do it when it might say 25, but only be 5. I mean, it's impossible, but that would be quite a significant offset, quite a significant misalignment. I mean, I've only had it 15 or 16 months, maybe 18 at a push. I do have a bit of an issue with the cigarette socket, the 12 volt out. Does people still call it a cigarette socket? I think I'm being old fashioned. But the 12 volt cigarette lighter socket, it's rusted on the inside. So sometimes I'll plug what do you call it? I'll plug the male plug in. I'll plug the plug in. Yeah, you know what I mean. And I have to I have to rotate it and scrap about trying to scrape some rust off so that we get a good contact. Because I live in a field, folks. I live in a field. Water gets in here sometimes. Dew, vapor, fog, whatever you want to call it, gets in here. You know, condensation, moisture, whatever, however you want to word it. So some of these open sockets do get, you know, rusty and crusty over time. These things are more likely to go. The ports are going to go long before the battery that's got at least 10 years of life in it. It's the sockets that are going to go long before the batteries. These, what do you call them? Lithium lithium iron phosphate. Yeah, lithium iron phosphate. These things you could charge them fully daily every day for 10 years, at the end of which they'll drop to 80% of their initial capacity. The sockets are going to be fucked long before that. What's the longest USB socket you've ever had work? Fuck, sometimes the sockets go before the cables. What the fuck? I do love my EcoFlow, don't get me wrong. You know I love my EcoFlow. I still haven't done a video specifically about EcoFlow. It's good that you got a solar panel. Well, that was down to you guys. When I bought a tent, or when I needed a tent, not... Or was it? Was it when I needed the last one? Or was it the one before that? Fuck, I lose track, guys. I had a tent that was just a bedroom and a single vestibule. So it wasn't 2 bedrooms and the living room. And even the vestibule, it sloped off. So it was only 1.5 rooms, really. And it was jellyfishing. It had been through a few huge storms, but it was finally dropping apart, and everyone was telling me it was dropping apart, and I was insisting, no, I can put a tarp over and get another few months out of this. And then it just ripped fucking big. I mean, it ripped from end to end at the side, at the back here, really big, and that convinced me that we needed a new tent. I had multiple people offering to buy me a whole new tent, and they raised money, and I had some fantastic donations. I think I had 2 people donate €100 or £100 even. I had a couple pay 50, donate 50, and then my friend Karen said she'd buy me a tent, and I said I can't let you do that. That's too much. We were looking at like €400 and €500 tents, big ones like this with a bedroom either side and a big living room in the middle. I said, but what I can do is that I've raised enough money. If you really want to make a big contribution, I'll split it with you. So she paid for half, and I took your guys' money and paid my half. But that left me with quite a bit of money left over, and that's when I decided to buy I bought the EcoFlow first. I thought it was an investment. I had these 2 small panels that would generate up to 20 watts, and I could, through one day of charging from those 2 small panels, 20 watts, let's say by 8 or 10 hours in summer, I could get 200 watt hours. Is my math right there? 20 times 10 is 200 watts would become watt hours over the course. I wouldn't actually, that's the peak that the 2 panels would reach. So maybe I'd get 100 watt hours, maybe 150. So that would be, what, between 40% and 60% of the EcoFlow's capacity. So I was happy to do that for a while I saved up for a solar panel. But Karen helped me She gave me kind of a loan to get the solar panel earlier. Then there was a kerfuffle because we didn't have the right connectors from the solar panel to the EcoFlow. She got me the cable, or her husband got the cable. And about the same time, she helped me get the cool box because I thought I needed a fridge type device. Now, I made a bad purchasing decision on that one. And I was warned about it. But I still went ahead. I just had this idea in my head. And I got the wrong kind of cooler box. Can't remember the name of it. It's not a thermocouple, is it? It's a thermocouple, the thing that does the... Jack Attack's still here. He'll tell me. Thermocouple measures temperature, but the thing that actually moves energy around is just a thermo... No, I don't know. Watch Jack Attack in chat. He'll tell you. Anyway, I made a bad mistake. It worked well for the first summer, and in winter I left it outside. Didn't realise I'd left food in. It got infested, and it's never worked properly since that. So yeah, I don't know whether luck is the word, but I am fortunate to have solar power. Partly it happened by my own hand. Partly help from Karen, but a big part was the money that you guys contributed towards a tent, and then Karen helped pay half of the tent anyway. I mean, she was really pushing to buy the whole tent, but I couldn't. Looking back, I shouldn't have let her pay half. I thought it was a compromise with the amount of pressure she was giving me to let her buy the whole thing. I am the luckiest tramp in the fucking world, folks. I am. With your support, people like Josie, Karen, and their families, I'm sure I've offended a lot of people by missing. I don't want to start a huge list of names. Some guys who just come and visit me in the field. Well, not just visit me, but yeah, I appreciate the company, and like people like Anthony who come and bring me he cooked me a breakfast at his, bring it round here, give it me, then we'll sit and chat for an hour, and then he goes home and cooks his own breakfast. So he's doing all that before he's even had his own. So many people helped in so many ways. The lady down the road that I nickname Morticia, long like dark hair down to her backside. It looks a lot like Morticia Adams from the Addams Family. She once every couple of months will stop and give me either a 10 or a 20 euro note. Always appreciated. Occasionally she's brought me a bag of like bread and stuff to put on bread. One time she brought me 4 beers, non-alcoholic beers, the Heineken 00s. You can tell what people think, can't you? They're thinking, oh, he's an alk in a field. I'll give him I'll get him some, but it'll be 00s. Yeah. No. I don't know. I have so much help from so many people. Recharge with no load. Yeah, that's difficult sometimes. I do usually. I'll let it charge up to 80 or 90%, and if it's a warm day, I'll put the fan on. So that last 20%, it's coming in faster than I'm using it, but it's the necessities of life. When you're sat here and it's getting hot, you can't not put the load on. Hold on. Peltier, that's them. Mr. S says, I'd love an EcoFlow similar as backup, but they're so expensive. Mine was $250 for the River 2. roughly 250 euros. The Delta 3 start at about 750, I think. Hold on, I've got to scroll back. It's jumped about a bit. Okay, here we go. Do you not have plugs for the open sockets? Somewhere. Well, for one, the 12-volt one came with a plug, you know, a cover. But it's not attached, so you have to, I don't know what, you know me. It's in here somewhere. The main socket, the 220 volts one doesn't have a cover, no. And that's got a lot of dirt and dust inside. Not so much rusted, because there's only the earth. There's only the earth. It's not so much a pin, is it? But there's the wire down the side. That's the only exposed metal there. For a while though, the 12-volt socket was in use most days when I was using the cool box. I think I know where I am now. There was Mr. S loving an EcoFlow. Peltier, that's the word I was looking for. Did you test the fridge of a friend? I did, yeah. Vitruvium, Ryan, who was in here earlier. I tested it with that. I decided to go for a different style of fridge, but it will still be a camping fridge. But I want an upright. I don't want to put everything like into a box, and every time you want anything you have to dig around in there, and something with shelves, a salad drawer at the bottom, a couple of compartments on the inside of the door, and a cool ice box type thing at the top. I'll probably go for the same make that Ryan had, but yeah, and it will still run on a 12-volt port, so there's no initial problem when the compressor kicks in. It will be a compressor. Yeah, I tested it. And your 100th subscriber with the tent, is that you? Are you number 100? Hold on, where are we? Hello, goodbye. Whatever happened to the tent, by the way? The tent is still here. It's in my my emergency go. I call it a go bag, but it's actually a bin. I have one of those. I have, because someone else gave me a tent as well. I've got two standby tents, but I've got one in this bin. A survival sleeping bag, a foil foam sleeping pad or mat, and some other items, some dry clothes and things in there. So it's been good to have, knowing all along that at any moment I've got a fallback. Still got it, but haven't needed to use it. I can't remember whether this was the 2-man or the 3-man. But yeah, if there was a really bad storm and this tent was ruined, I would wait a day and then put one of the small ones up, or both. Or if I needed to go in a hurry, I would put this bin on a trolley, or I could empty it out and just take the essentials and go. So it's been great to have. Fortunately, I haven't needed to use it. It is bright orange. Came in a green bag, but the tent itself is a striking orange. I always wondered, you remember I was getting a lot of trouble from the police. They were coming every week or two. I figured if there was suddenly a bright orange tent in the field, they would be here quicker than you can say fucking Guardia Civil. But I appreciate whoever the donor was, whether that was you or not. I do appreciate that tent very much. It's been a great comfort to know that I had the F-off orange, you called it. I did. It is like vivid. I mean, it's fluorescent. The orange is more fluorescent than the outer green was fluorescent. Um, but it's been good to have and just to know it's there. It's a safeguard. It's a reassurance. Um, I guess in some ways it's a pity it hasn't been used. But thanks to you guys and donations and the PayPal. Actually, I didn't want to open a PayPal account. I was talked into that again by some of the early subscribers. I didn't want to be an online beggar. Still don't. Which is why I like to try and provide a little bit of, I don't know whether you'd call it entertainment or feedback. Keep you up to date with my experiences, but it's not just about being on the grift and being on the beg. I hope it doesn't come across that way anyway. But for anyone interested, there is a PayPal link at the top of chat. I don't mean it. I'm doing all right at the minute, folks. I don't need money at the minute. Like I said, I'm looking at how to spend. I don't want to say excess money. That sounds wrong. But there's money there, and I'm looking at how I can best improve mine and Tina's life with that money over the short to medium term. If I could have bought a fridge at the start of summer, Barry and Karen who moved to, yeah, I don't know how you say Nurka. Yeah, no, he did me a couple of big favours with the 2 interviews he did. I had a big influx of new viewers and subscribers after that. Along with that came an influx of trolls and criticisms and quite stressful stuff as well. You got to take the rough with the smooth, haven't you? You got to take the rough with the smooth. But yeah, no, I appreciate them. I was saying earlier that they were trying to arrange to come and visit me, but excess money, yeah, saved money, says Josie. That's possibly a better way of putting it. A less offensive way to the people that have donated, anyway. Yeah. But yeah, Barry's a good lad, and he introduced me to Andy, the guy from, I'm going to say Hillview Farm, and he came around and brought me a big box of fresh veg that time, and also a few days later a couple of fishing rods, which unfortunately we weren't able to make good use of. My mate Joby, who was here, knew how to fish, but it was rivers rather than the sea, and also this is a bit of a dodgy spot. Got to get up in 5 hours. Be well. Stay safe. Thank you. Hello, goodbye. Is there a real name there? Can you share a name? You didn't confirm whether you were the one that bought the tent. I suspect you are from you asking. Mr. 100. Yeah. Bye. Hello, goodbye, says Josie. Okay, folks. What have we got left to talk about? My itchy nose, maybe. What was this drink? This was vodka and the lemonade, wasn't it? Next up, it's going to be the Tinto Verano, or Tinto de Verano, de or day. Again, that seems regional. I don't know. See, when I moved to Spain, I was doing the th. Gracias, muchas gracias. They don't do that here in this region. It's gracias. It's regional. Some areas do it, some don't. Any science or technology YouTube channels you folks can recommend? That's a good question. I like Hello Wonderful People, Anton Petrov. The German lady, Sabine Hossenfelder, maybe. Sorry, Sabina. It's an E on the end rather than an A, but it's pronounced Sabina. Sabina Hossenfelder, I think. I would recommend. There's a lady called Dr. Becky, an astrophysicist. I would highly recommend. Kyle Hill on the nuclear side of things. Kyle Hill's a good one. There are lots of other. There's a guy, is he called Ben Miles? Dr. Ben Miles? Does shorts about latest discoveries and I'm sure there are many, many more. But those ones I would definitely recommend. There was a new one I started watching recently. Again, now that shorts can be up to 3 minutes, they're not the rubbish they used to be. Some of them are actually useful. There's one called something like Science to Know, or I don't know. Then you've got some of the other ones like, is it something like Veritasium? I dislike shorts. I disliked them when they had a hard limit of 1 minute. Now that they're at 3 minutes, I can stand them. I can withstand them. Or yeah. Veritasium. It tends to be a little bit. What was the criticism I made the other week? There's always a new battery technology. The things that they announce and overhype haven't come to fruition yet. So it's an almost constant parade of maybe this will revolutionize stuff. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. A lot of it is, you watch the whole thing, it's like, this is revolutionary. Batteries are going to be 10 times better. And then you find out it's at the early stages of development and the people doing it are just looking for funds. Further research required kind of thing. Joanne's going now. Hospital appointment tomorrow for her ankle. Stay safe. Speak soon. Okay, Joanne, good luck at hospital. Hope everything works out. Older videos seem better. Yeah, I guess they're, once you reach a certain size, you got to keep chasing it's the grind of YouTube. You got to keep chasing the algorithm. You got to have more content. This, I think, is where Linus Tech. Oh fuck! I can't speak suddenly. Linus Tech Tips LTT. This is where he's gone wrong, I think, over the years. Chasing the algorithm, putting out more and more content, faster and faster, more and more staff, and now they're all leaving, according to a video I watched earlier. I do still like Linus, and I like Linus, you know, the channels, but a lot of them, over half of his channels are now dormant and have been for 10 months. Like I say, he's got staff leaving. They seem to be in a financial crunch as well, because YouTube's ad revenue is falling, apparently. I wouldn't know. I did qualify, and then I unqualified because I couldn't supply Spanish tax details. Yeah. So I'm no longer monetized. But I was monetized for a very short time. I used to enjoy seeing a video would earn 4 cents. 5. I think my best video earned 13 cents one time. But I will never get that money. Somebody did a super, not a super chat, a super thanks, maybe. I'll never get that money. Probably never get that money. That's a shame. Where was that? Linus and YouTube ad revenue seems to be down about half from where it was. Don't know what that's about. There was a suspicion it was to do with people with ad blockers. So someone who watches videos on YouTube with ad blockers no longer counts in the ad revenue count. Before it was just on how many times the video shown. Oh, it's been shown 1,000 times, and therefore it must have had 1,000 ads, and you get however many cents per view. Between 1 and 5. It's between 1 and 5 euros per 1,000 views. Was a figure I've got in my head from somewhere. But now half of those views don't count because people are using ad blockers. Is the theory, the last time I heard. Veritasium is sold to investors. You see, that'll do it, won't it? Once it's no longer the original man or the original team. The LTT took a hit when they had a fallout with Steve at Nexus, Gamers Nexus. And rather than going to them with whatever his observations were, he went public and called them out. And at the same time, a bunch of ex-staff took the opportunity to jump in with their Me Too kind of complaints. And I think that caused them a lot of grief with their advertisers and sponsors, which looks like it's continued. And the financial crunch that they're in meant that some new channels that some of their staff wanted to do never went ahead. In particular, there's a thing about a car. So some of their team wanted to do a car channel, and it kept getting put on the back burner. It became apparent it was never going to happen. So those two guys that wanted to do that left. And these are people seen on camera. Well, one of them was the cameraman, and the other was seen often on camera. So you're losing the visible faces of LTT. They go off to actually do a car channel. So yeah, a lot of changes there, but where were we? We were talking about science channels, and I've taken us off into tech somehow. I'd recommend a bloke called Big Clive and a bloke called Scruff Dog when it comes to what would you say, engineering. Gamers Nexus, yeah. Zip tie tuning, that's it. And they're also doing another one, aren't they? Zip tie. What was it going to be about? That was just going to be about electronics. I'm not sure how they're going to get around their no compete. But yeah. But in terms of science, my most regular views, Anton Petrov, Sabina Hossenfelder, Dr. Becky, Kyle Hill, and anyone else I mentioned earlier already. They were, yeah, but not, yeah, from what I can tell, it's a yes but no but. They were fired, but given like a redundancy payment, and then non-competes were modified to allow them to run a car channel. But also they're doing an electronics channel. I'm not sure specifically whether it's phones, tablets. I don't know how fine-grained that is, but zip tie something or other that's not the one that you already listed. So I think it was a firing in name only. By being fired, I think that allowed them to claim benefits. Dr. Becky, yeah. Hello, Karen. Karen enters the chat. You're late. I'm 3 hours in. I'm about to finish one drink and get another. That's enough of that really sour lemon. Nice, but very sharp. I'm going to go with the Tinto Verano from Josie. Oh, that didn't fizz. What happened there? I think this is flat. I'm not the biggest fan of these affixed lids. What have I poured? A little bit more. That's a good glassful. Now I've got a wet ear from shaking the bottle to see if it's fizzing. Hey, Tina, are you awake again, darling? Let me come and see. Hello. Let me just rearrange things a bit down here. Hold on, where are we? That's you there. I've got to go back here a bit. Let's just... Where are you? Okay. That's alright. That's alright there. Hello, you. Hello. You want to say hello to the peoples? Come on, let's see. Auntie Karen's here. Let's come and say hello to Auntie Karen. Not here. On the phone. Come here. Let's turn that around. Let's do that. Hey, babe. Say hello to Auntie Karen. Hey. I know you don't understand. You don't understand phones. Where are you? Let's get you actually on camera. There you go, babe. Hey. Where are you? Get you on camera proper. Come on. Here you go. That's nice. Okay, that's my Tina girl. What have you missed? Oh, God. You've missed me telling the peoples about my 2-hour stand-up knockdown fist fight with that fucking idiot the other night. I've already done that story twice, so I'm not going over it again. The kids throwing stones and the storm. That was I think that was the first hour, maybe hour and a half. And then I think I went over the stand-up knockdown fist fight again, probably for half an hour. I said I was going to do a 2-minute summary of it, and I regaled the audience with the full story again. That's been about it, I think. Some of the other stuff is just chatting. Is she cold? She just likes being under the blanket sometimes. I don't think either of us are actually cold. In fact, I'm a little bit too warm under the blanket at times, mainly because I'm kind of fully dressed. I got long pants on and a t-shirt. But I always sleep fully dressed because I might have to get up in the middle of the night and go knock somebody out. Apparently, it's a thing. I did try to call the bloke an ambulance. I said, hey, you're an ambulance. Not much then, yeah. Karen was getting cold tonight outside. A guy who walks past here every day with his dog. His dog's called Ebe, which you would spell E-V-E, but in Spain, V's and B's are indistinguishable. I mean, literally, they can't tell them apart. We got road signs that alternate between V's and B's depending on how far up the road you walk. But this guy, he was walking around and he's going, oh, muy frio, muy frio. And I'm like, nah. Then I was warm from carrying Tina, carrying the back end. We do still have the chariot, but for quick ablutions, it takes 5 or 10 minutes to strap her into the thing. And you risk the mess on the chariot. So I'll probably always walk her before I put her in that anyway, but just for the ablutions, just for the quick, necessities, I'll carry on just using the belt. When we go anywhere else, then we'll... I was getting cold tonight outside the bar. Why are you outside a bar? Is it quiz night again? Then you're not drinking enough. Yeah, Karen, you need the liquid anaesthetic so that you can sit outside the bar without getting cold. On the Stella. You need something stronger than Stella. How are the feet and legs? Pretty much sorted now. There's a couple of kind of scabs just finishing off. They're almost healed. I typically leave them 2 or 3 days, leave them alone. Apply the alcohol, but it's not really needed now. Leave them 2 or 3 days, and then I'll take the top off them, just scraping away the. We're at the end. I mean, there's no pus, there's no blood, there's no big cut underneath. They don't even weep, bleed anymore. It's the final layers of skin that are just covering over. So yeah, it's yeah, pretty much better. Better enough for me to have a 2-hour stand-up knockdown fist fight. Move, you bugger. Why are you not moving? Good to hear. Quiz night and then a kebab. Okay. Or kebab for any Americans watching. I'm not sure why they go with O in kebab rather than the proper A of kebab, but they do. So cheers to any Yanks out there. I know we've got a few lurkers. I've got no idea where they are. Jack Attack's been suspiciously quiet for a while. I'm sure he's still out there, lurking. Let's do like a roll call. Who's still here? Just I don't know, put a 1 in chat or something, or say hi, or say I'm here or something. How is it pronounced in Arabic? Got no idea, mate. Aren't they Turkish? Do you class Turkish as Arabic? Mr. S is not here. Soul Mining's still here. Jack Attack might have gone. Although, did you see the other day? I was about to press like to end, and he just came in right at the end. Kebabs are Turkish, I believe, yeah. Aren't they? Doner kebab and what's the other one? Shish kebab. Fairly sure they're Turkish. In Britain, all the guys running a kebab shop are Turkish. Feel free to fact check. You think he sleeps? That's possible. What time are we on? 20 to 1, okay. Yeah, actually that's quite cold. Not used to that. Normally I pick up my phone or my tablet and they're quite warm. In fact, sometimes they're bloody hot. That's quite cool. Quite cool indeed. Lots of German doner takeaways spring up in the UK. Yeah, all the Turkish are running barber shops, aren't they? Apparently they get no customers, but they put in big returns with the VAT man. That's how you launder your money. If you've got an ill-gotten gains, you open a shop, do nothing, put through 100,000 in takings, and pay the tax on the 100,000, and then you're left with like 88,000 clean money, or whatever the number might be, depending on different tax levels and things. Mine was a chicken kebab. I only eat them in Spain. Chicken. Which is this, the kebab on a skewer, or is this the? It's not the rotating fucking. I don't know which is which. I don't know. There's shish kebab and there's the other one that I said earlier, doner. One's usually lamb or goat, isn't it? Where they've piled lots of thin sheets on a spike, and then they slice down. It kind of all molds and gels together. Then they just slice down from this rotating meat paste. It's not good stuff. It rotates. Okay. The elephant's leg. Okay. Yeah. Yes, it's dodgy dealing with Turkish barbers. Yeah. Gotta be careful. I'm not getting into politics and racist stuff tonight. I lose enough subscribers. But I gotta say this one. How did we let a bunch of people into the country, like a family, who called their son Jihad? Did nobody in immigration wondered? I don't want to go off on politics. I don't want to. But some of these things just astound me. How could you not notice that someone who called their kid Jihad might be a little bit radical, and therefore the kid might grow up a bit radicalized? It tastes good, especially when you've had a drink. Yeah. It does. We all get the munchies, as we call it in the UK. We all get hungry after beer. This used to be where fish and chips, or what's the sausage you like down south? It's kind of pink and spicy, big. It feels like it's got no skin, but it actually technically does have a skin. Savoy. I got there. Chips and Savoy I used to have when I was in London. Chicken and chips when I was in Morecambe. Toots? Was it called Toots? I think it was. It was a chicken and chips kind of place. Oh, that used to cause problems. Chicken and chips, and they'd always put in a bit of salad, right? So they'd put in like raw onion in your salad. And a girl I was seeing at the time just hated raw onion. I really liked it. So there you are after a few beers. Is it her place? Is it my place? And then you eat the onion, and then you both go your separate ways. I got a friend who used to be a bouncer, and I'd had a salad. It was summer. And it had onion. And I'm stood talking, and he, oh, onion. I'm like, yeah, of course. It's summer. I've had a salad. And he went off on one. He was ready to kick off and have a fuck. I said, don't be so fucking childish. And he went, the last person who called me childish, I fucking knocked him out. It was my dad. And I went, oh, I'm sorry, you know, not my problem. You're obviously a little bit fucking oversensitive about certain things. So we had a confrontation. It didn't actually come to blows, but yeah, no, wouldn't talk to me because I'd eaten an onion like an hour earlier or 2 hours earlier. It's funny what sets some people off and how I've never seen anybody go from normal to rage so quickly. Total loss of sense, total loss of reasonableness. Totally, you could not reason with him, just totally unreasonable. Out of nowhere, just because I'd had an onion, or a slice of onion, or a ring of onion, whatever. People are strange, folks. Immigration is on the same side. I think that we've allowed. If you look at all levels of government, from local, county, and actual like the parliaments and things, what word can I use? Asians, Southeast Asians, are way overrepresented in all levels of politics. Right up to Deputy Prime Minister, isn't it? And a couple of Prime Ministers ago, I lose track. He was Prime Minister, wasn't he? Dishi Rishi. Was he the last Prime Minister before this one, or was there another one in between? They came and went so quick. Who was the woman that was in for about 19 days? What was her fucking name? The last few years has been a total fucking abomination when it comes to the turnover. Probably everything since Brexit. Or since the Brexit vote. Since Cameron stood down and deserted his post. It's been like a conveyor belt. Current one out, new one in. The tolerance dilemma. Should you tolerate intolerant people? And if you do, how long will you survive as a nation, what's the other word I'm looking for? There is another word. A group of people who have shared values, culture. How long will you survive as a nation or as a culture if you tolerate the intolerant? It's an interesting question. We'll have to see how it goes. Theresa May. No, was it? No. There was a woman after her. Theresa May lasted a little while. The one who came in after her set a budget and everyone laughed at it, vote of no confidence, and she was gone. Probably the shortest serving British Prime Minister ever. But she now gets like 100 grand a year pension because she's an ex-Prime Minister. Let me have a look. Because I this was when I was living in the field. This was when when the Queen died, wasn't it? This woman came in. She was the Prime Minister when the Queen died, and a week later I got online again and she was gone. She was like, I had no idea what had happened. It took me about a month to find out what had happened. Shortest served or I'll go with served UK Prime Minister. What do we got? Liz Truss. 49 days. 7 weeks. You see? and so unmemorable that no one can remember her fucking name. But she gets to retire now as an ex-prime minister with a pension. Cameron really messed up, says Mr. Sharafja. I agree. See, what I believe he should have done, when he announced that we were going to have the vote, he should have said, I'm going to stand back from this and be impartial. His deputy runs the campaign, somebody else runs the... So one runs the Remain campaign and somebody else runs the Leave campaign. And Cameron should have had the civil service preparing in case of it being Brexit, in case it being Leave. He should have had the civil service preparing, strategizing, making contacts with civil services in other countries. Just think, look, we don't want this to happen, we don't think it's going to happen, but in case it does, where do we stand? Instead, the vote happened, shock, horror, surprise, it didn't go the way they expected or wanted, and then they have to start negotiating and planning and trying to work out, and they didn't know their ass from their elbow. Who was going to do what and when and where and why should have been sorted out before the vote. Just planning. And then, instead of feeling defeated and resigning, he could have said, hey, I was impartial from that, but I am your leader and I will now guide you through this process. We've got plans in place. We know what we're going to do. Ba-boom, ba-boom. That's what I think should have happened. I'm not commenting on which way the vote should have gone or what my views are. I understand why people wanted to remain. I understand why some other people wanted to leave. I see both sides. Yeah, but I think Cameron handled it badly. He could have stayed impartial, done the planning in case, and still stayed as leader afterwards rather than looking like a defeated clown and resigning. In my humble opinion. It's not so humble, is it? Oh. Cabbage or lettuce? Go on, what? I'm lost on your cabbage or lettuce comment. She made a lasting impression, yeah. Do the British really like the royals? This has always been controversial. Do you know that while Queen Victoria was queen, so 1830 something, no, maybe 1840 something, no, 1830 something, while 1901 or 2, there was I think around 10 assassination attempts on her. She spent half of her reign in hiding. She would say mourning after Albert died. Prince Albert. I think the British have always been torn on the monarchy. The modern monarchy, we had pomp and ceremony with Queen Elizabeth II. Data warning, you've used 40 gig. That's okay, I've got 500. Why are you warning me about 40? That must be a setting buried somewhere. The monarchy. This is a lot like the democracy question. It's bad, but it's better than any alternative that we've found. And the only time that we abolished the monarchy, it was murder, mayhem, and civil war. So the monarchy was the better of, of the options available. The same as what's the quote about democracy? It's terrible, but it's better than any of the alternatives we found or tried. I think that so some people really like the royal family. Some people are really opposed. Some people are indifferent. And some don't like it but can't think of what would be better. What are you going to do? have a president above prime minister. Don't know. So we like the pageantry, and you know, when there's a royal wedding and when there's a funeral. It doesn't look like Charlie's going to last as long as his mum did, does it? In fact, I hear that there's deep speculation about Europe that we don't get to hear about, the British media won't cover, about how far gone King Charles is. Maybe you guys in Europe can enlighten me. I don't really read European news sources. I guess some local stuff here. But I tend to just read once every 3 or 4 days. A couple of times a week I'll read the BBC News. I know it's not great. It's certainly not what we thought it was back in the day, and I'm not sure whether it was always bad or whether it's got bad. But that's my main. If it doesn't pop up, anything really important will pop up on Twitter or YouTube or something. I do watch a few guys who commentate on, a couple who commentate on politics, a couple who just commentate or add commentary around news stories in general about the UK. Oh, sometimes politics, sometimes not. But I don't follow the news back home too much. But I'm told, or I've detected, that some European news media have much more in-depth coverage of King Charles's health than the UK get to hear about. We've got a few cases of cancer within royalty at the minute, haven't we? What's the other one called? William's wife. Catherine? Kate? Not sure. And then King Charles himself. Not good. Not a nice disease. Or diseases. Do you lump them together and call them one disease? Cancer? Or is each one its own disease? Not sure. Oh, I'm getting tired, folks. I'm getting tired. Where are we? We're coming up on 3.5. Do I call it quits here? I don't know. Have I got any other topics to talk about? Mr. S dislikes us. We never get to hear about other royal families, I don't think, in the UK. I know there are a few out there still, but the system, not the people, but the system. Yeah, this is the thing with royalty. You don't get to pick and choose. There was this thing a few years ago about whether they should skip Charles when the Queen died. Should they have gone straight to William? And it's like, no, you don't get to pick and choose. You don't get to vote. That's the whole idea of a monarchy. The stability comes from the fact that it is what it is. You start messing with it, you create constitutional crises, and those tend not to be good for anybody. Oh, guys, yeah, I think I am going to call it in 2 minutes when we hit 3.5 hours. Let me have a look, just double check the time. Yeah, that'll be 1 o'clock. I am obviously. I've had a rough week. I've had most nights with no sleep, including stand-up, knockdown fist fights, running for hours. Storms keep you awake. I'm not making excuses, but I'm just telling you how it is. I am tired. I'm getting tired. So I think I'm going to call it there. We will finish in the method appropriate for the channel. Karen says, I think people like traditions and the history that goes with it. I think to an extent, when those things are active, when there is a jubilee, a royal wedding, I'm not going to say that we enjoy a funeral, but there is still the continuation, the passing of the torch from one to the other. There's a stability there that I think if you go with any other system, do you want to have a figure? Do you want to have a head of state who is a political animal? So like a president. That leaves you with two levels of power: your president and then your prime minister or whatever underneath. I look at the instability in France at the minute with that. I don't know. I think a royal family adds some level of stability and all of those other things. They're people like everyone else. Why treat them differently? The only thing I can think is because they add that stability. The only time in Britain that we got rid of them, when we chopped the head off one, we had, I'm going to say 30 years, might be 40, of not very nice stuff. Basically a dictator, banning Christmas and mince pies and, I don't know, whatever else. And lots of head chopping and then civil war. Civil wars are not nice. So stability is the only thing, but yeah. But then you have to make them work for you. I think the British royal family are basically our puppets. It's like jump, pulling the strings. Go and open a supermarket. Go and open some new office block. Okay, yeah, there's a new train line. Go and cut a ribbon. Oh, there's a new boat. Go and shake a bottle of champagne at it. Dance, puppet dance. So we get to control them, but also we get the stability from having them. And yeah, it costs a few million, but it's also a tourist attraction. They are also a tourist attraction. So I don't think it's a bad exchange. A few million to keep some puppets that you can roll out to take care of launching new ships. I can't think of any better examples. Ships, train lines, a new motorway maybe. There's talk at the minute of Britain having some new cities, new towns as they would be called. I guess you could have someone to cut the ribbon. Dance, puppet dance. Still the use I can think of them, but yeah, sausage fingers. Okay. He's awake. He's only come in because he heard me say I'm ending it, and I am, even though I've run over by a couple of minutes. You don't like the old bag who thinks she's queen? Yeah, the horse. What's she called? Camilla. Yeah. They're not a great. Well, how would you say it? When they got married, they said she would not be queen. She would be king's consort. And then over time, they knew that people would just soften and mellow over time. I don't know much about her, like as a person, except that she had an affair with Charlie for 20 odd years. In secret, behind her husband's back and behind Diana's back. I don't know. Other people's families. I love William's wife, Kate. She seems like a nice lass. Yeah. A real princess. The Pope is also kind of the King of the Vatican. Kind of, sort of. But he's higher than that. He's God's representative on earth. Infallible. Except for when he has to say sorry for what the other ones did before him. Religion, I'm not going there. They vote on new popes, they do, and then they check that they've got testicles. Was it Pope Joan, they called her? And it's not like a myth, it's a thing. No royal family equals no flag. Well, maybe not the current flag. Other countries have flags without a royal family, but yeah. They're bringing millions. They take plenty. They do. I mean, it is a. This is where the debate comes in. We're all on strings, says Karen. I guess. If where's my favourite conspiracy theorist? I can't remember his handle. He would agree with you that we're all prisoners. This stuff with the ID card and then tying it to whether or not you can take money out of the bank and not a fan. But anyway, guys, I did say I was going to draw a line under it there. I am getting. Oh, Terry just arrives. Terry. I'm literally just wrapping it up, mate. Feel free to rewind, watch the playback, or wait till tomorrow for the chat replay to be enabled. I think I have to get to 4 hours before it's instantly available. But that's me done, folks. That's me for tonight. Thank you all for joining me. I'm going to finish in the tradition of the channel if I can. There we go. Here's my girl. Hey, babe. Hey, babe. Which way can I get you? There we go. From the side. You know, you're going to point your head that way. You don't like the light, do you? Anyway, guys, from Tina, thumbs up if you haven't already. Just a final reminder, and I will catch you. I will catch you. I need to turn it back to me. Let me do this. From Tina, and from me, Delta Mike. Out. I'm in the dark. Out.